Talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Pretty good night. Almost won a game. I mean, it's better. Definitively. They kind of.
I mean, they scored exponentially more runs than they did.
They did the night before, yeah. Way more. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I really don't. I think we could just go.
Show's over.
I don't really feel like berating anything. Like, look, Tomo Sagano looked like he was going to be another disaster. Like, the first inning last night was so deflating because it just made you feel like, oh, right, this just is the story. But then obviously after that, he pitched well enough not just to win, but he gave them a legitimately quality start. And it doesn't mean that it's okay that he gave up 2 home runs in the first inning. Like, I do think that matters to some extent. I don't know how to define that. Like, we live in a very binary, either you pitched well or you didn't. And, by any standard, he pitched well. But it is a deflating feeling for a team that's not producing at the plate to immediately be down 3-0 right to start the game. And it's not an excuse, and it doesn't make it okay or anything along those lines, but it does matter to some extent. Still, you're not going to get me to criticize Tomo Sagano. By Orioles standards, he's been a miracle. You just need one effing hit. You need to do something when there's runners in scoring position. You need to come through in some sort of way. It's just really infuriating, man. And yeah, I get it. Like, there were some awful calls, and I'm not. Those matter, like they're not nothing. It's really tough. It's really tough. Tyler O'Neill stinks. We're going through all of it. I don't want to overreact. I don't want to, I keep saying every day. I still have to acknowledge it's too early in the season. I still have to, all of those things, they're all true. We are reacting as though everything is defined and nothing is defined. But boy, does it feel like it. It just feels like this is the story. This is what this team is. They're just not good enough. And I felt that way a couple weeks ago. And until I see something else, that's the way it's going to feel. It's really tough, man. It's really tough. Glad Tomo Sagano pitched well. I'm glad that happened. That was a good thing.
Would he be man of the match, you think? Or,
probably, but we're not. What the hell does that matter?
Well, I want to do one. I feel like
I would like to do one too.
I'm a little bummed out right now.
It's a really empty-looking board. At some point, we just stop doing it. We just pretend like. I mean, if it goes like this, we don't just keep doing man of the match because it's silly to say never lose ever if all they ever do is lose. Christ. Hi, Glenn Clark Radio. I got nothing else to say. I'm exhausted. I'm spent. They start winning at some point. We got more things to talk about. There's not a whole lot to say. There isn't. They're not good. And yes, it starts with the pitching. The pitching, even after Tomo Sagano pitched well last night, remains the bigger problem. But as we keep pointing out, there are other problems. Getting an effing hit in a big spot. No one is doing it. With the exception of, I guess, Cedric Mullins. It's awful. It's lifeless. And it makes all of these things that we end up fighting about. Like, I'm just screaming with these dopes on Twitter last night that are like, no, you can't sign players. You can't. It was better to sign Tyler O'Neill than Anthony Santander. What? But then I find myself saying, like, what am I fighting about? Like, what is this? What are we doing here? This is what happens when the team loses. Is it like I've said this a lot? It becomes this like winning replacement theory. When the team's not winning, you wanting to be right about your opinion becomes the thing that, like, well, the team's not winning, so I need to win in some sort of way. And I know how I can win. I can win by being right on the internet. And it is the lowest of lows. It is as low of a common denominator as you can possibly get. But that's where we go. Immediately afterwards, we go to, you see, I told you this was a bad idea to sign because we want to feel right, because in that way it's a win. Everybody's wrong. Everything sucks. Orioles Nationals tonight, 6:45. Cade Povich is going to be on the mound. As far as news, I guess Brandon Young's making another start. I don't know what the hell's going on with Kyle Gibson.
I think they, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He threw 78 pitches the other night in Aberdeen.
Okay, so why is he?
But that was Tuesday, I want to say. I think that was
Why
Tuesday
would he have
night?
been in line to start Tuesday?
Brandon, he did pitch Tuesday, is what I'm saying.
Right, but what I'm saying is that doesn't make any sense. Brandon Young
well, nothing does.
Was not supposed to be able to be back in the rotation. He's only here because they could put Cody Poteet on the IL. If they didn't have anyone to go on the IL, they were going to need a starter. What am I missing?
Roster resource has...
I guess on Monday is when they made the move, so by Monday they realized, like, maybe they could have just pushed this Kyle Gibson start back at that point. But...
Well, they're giving Charlie Morton an extra day of rest here. That's what this does. Push him to Saturday instead of pitching Friday.
But they wouldn't have started Gibson Tuesday and Saturday either. That math doesn't work.
No, they wouldn't have.
So I don't...
The roster resource has Gibson, for some reason, slated on next Wednesday the 30th to pitch for the Orioles. I mean,
is that when his rehab... Well, is this a rehab? I don't know how rehab assignments work when they're actually spring training. Admittedly, I don't know this. Like...
Because Trevor Rogers was like in a weird, like, his is also given like a weird name. It's like a minor. No, his is a major league rehab, I think.
Okay.
But again, I don't know how much weight those
Does
titles
that
carry.
well, yeah, because they would have to option him again.
Okay. So they would have to option Trevor Rogers once his 30-day period's up.
Correct.
Or bring him up, yeah.
Right. Sure. Why not? Right? Why not? Somebody's got to pitch. I just give up.
Apparently, Gibson was optioned at the beginning of the season. So I guess that means
Gibson was optioned?
Yeah, apparently.
Did he sign a minor league deal?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
Okay. Did I know that? I guess I knew that he signed a minor league deal. But yeah, to be fair, that means that he doesn't have to come up at any point. I mean, other than whatever they agreed to when he signed the minor league deal. I'm sure they had a expiration.
30 days.
Like either you're on the major league team by this point or we can part ways. I'm sure they had some sort of agreement like that. God, I just... We'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. We'll keep having the conversation. I mean, like, this is the reality that faces this team at this moment. They're not very good. At some point, either that's going to change or it's not. And when it doesn't, there will be changes. I say when. If it doesn't, there will be changes. But we're going to keep doing this every day, and it's going to get boring. Like, every day we're going to say, is today the day they fire the manager? Is today the day? Like, it's just kind of boring. Really sucked to have fought back. That was particularly deflating about last night. You spot them 3. You pitch your ass off. You fight your way back in. Not that it was pretty. And again, the offense left everything on the table. But you got back in the game. And it felt like, again, maybe this could prove to be a turning point. Maybe showing fight, showing heart could prove to be a turning point. And that made it oddly more deflating. If they just lose 3-0, you're like, yeah, it's about right.
They just don't score a run the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of who they are. They just kind of stink. Or if they really, if Sagano gets his ass kicked, gives up the 3 in the first, and then
just spirals.
Right, and they lose, 6 to 4 or whatever. I don't know. It's the fact that they fought back, tied the game up, and you're like, all right, maybe there is some fight left in you boys after all. Coming up in a few minutes, it is night 1 of the NFL draft. Coming up tonight, round 1. Joe Serpico from PressBox. Are we doing the draft?
That's what I told Joe, yeah.
Okay, I don't know. You didn't tell me that. You just said Joe's going to join us. That's all it said.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, draft.
All right, so I don't know where we're going to find it. The next one, so Proctor's doing the
whatever he's doing.
Yeah. He's doing the
did he lose?
Cheesesteak milkshake.
Yes, cheesesteak milkshake.
Do we have a date for that?
Yeah, it's not next week,
okay.
The week after.
The week after that, he's doing that. Apparently,
Jeremy's coming in tomorrow.
Right, he's going to do the Mayo Dogs. Apparently, Miami Baseball more recently did the pimento cheese milkshake in honor of the Masters. Vanilla yogurt and ice cream, vanilla syrup, pimento cheese, and potato chips, then topped with a pimento cheese sandwich. So that's going to be the penalty for the draft.
Well, actually, I don't.
What, you want to try that?
No, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
the
want
point.
to.
We'll do that as the penalty for the draft. So we'll be drafting players that may or may not be that we think might be selected by the Baltimore Ravens over the course of this weekend. Later on in the program, Myles Rice, incoming Maryland basketball transfer, is going to join us. Point guard from Indiana, originally at Washington State. We will also, speaking of the draft, catch up with Jamon Dumas-Johnson, he's not a Baltimore guy. He's a PG County guy, but he went to St. Francis, Kentucky linebacker. He's going to hear his name called this weekend, so we will catch up with him and also make a trip to the Baysox to chat with Doug Hodo. That's all on the way today. And speaking of the draft, come join us, live casino and hotel, Inside Sports and Social, starting at 7:30 tonight. We'll be there hanging out, giving away some great prizes, some Orioles tickets, some free golf among the grand prizes. Plus, there'll be just giveaways, swag during the course of round 1. Come see us tonight starting at 7:30 Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. I'll be doing some draft trivia, just having a great time. Hope that you will be there with us. Looking forward to hanging out with you at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Inside Sports and Social tonight for round 1 of the NFL Draft. I have had a lot of people ask me, I think Matt Miller, is that his name? The guy that we've made the new draft person for ESPN, the one that replaced Todd McShay, that I'm not really sure how he became a guy. I'm sure Matt Miller's a really nice guy. I really don't know his background and how it is that he is the new guy. Matt Miller.
Not Mike Miller.
Not Mike Miller. That'd
be interesting if he was in NFL draft.
No, Matt Miller. What, you mean the basketball player Mike Miller? Was he a coach? Wasn't he on somebody's staff?
That's
college
probably right.
Matt Miller from ESPN has the Ravens taking Malachi Starks at 27. He says the following. Starks is Baltimore's dream pick. according to conversation with multiple scouts around the league. His ability to play multiple positions at a high level would allow the Ravens to keep Kyle Hamilton in a deep safety role, which is something they want to do.
What does he know?
As we talked, God, I remember having this conversation with someone else before. Like, I think a lot of people have this idea the Ravens want to draft a safety so that Kyle Hamilton can go back to playing
Kyle Hamilton position.
The Swiss Army knife role. Matt Miller's suggestion is that they want to draft a safety so that they don't have to do that with Kyle Hamilton. So they can do what they did a year ago with Kyle Hamilton when the defense looked the best. Admittedly, I'm torn on this. Like, if they draft a safety because they believe, like, let's say it's Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame, that they draft because they believe that he's best suited to play just a traditional free safety, then I'd be okay with Kyle Hamilton moving around. But to the point, the defense was the best at the end of last season when you weren't using Kyle Hamilton that way. So if that, and again, I don't know. I have said this to a few people. I don't know how much I've said it publicly. But if you want to say I have sources, or as Mike Francesa would say, sauces, I would go barbecue one. I would go hot sauce.
Hot sauce should be buffalo sauce specifically.
Buffalo sauce is not great.
Well, it depends where you go.
It's this thing where like it's just gloop at some point.
The
like,
buffalo go to Greenmount Station in Hampstead.
Mm-hmm.
Our buffalo sauce, probably the best I've ever had.
Ours? Are you a part owner?
I mean, I worked there for 5 years. So
right, but I still don't know that you can say it's yours.
I'll say it's mine.
I don't think it works
claim
that way. There's a gloop problem when it comes to buffalo sauce. But I say all this to say, like, if I have sources, and I do, there have only been 2 players during this process that I have been the quality of the sources, the language they used, and the multiple times that I've heard it would leave me confident that it's a player the Ravens actually like. Who are those 2 players? I'm not going to tell you because we're about to do the draft. Joining us now here on GCR.
Cheater. You're a cheater.
He is PressBox's fantasy football analyst, and he's been doing draft stuff for the last few months at PressBoxOnline.com. Our friend Joe Serpico is with us this morning. Joe, it's Glenn. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Guys, good to talk to you. I hope everything's been well with everybody.
Everything is all right. You never have done the draft exercise with us, have you? This would be a first for you?
This is a first, but I know you guys like to eat weird things, so I'm assuming there's some kind of punishment in line here.
Do we ever enjoy doing weird things? So here's the way that it works. We're going to be drafting players ourselves based on the premise that they might be drafted by the Baltimore Ravens over the course of the weekend. And for every point that we get, we're in good shape. If you don't get any points, you're going to be in really bad shape. Because the person who gets the fewest points during this process, this NFL draft, will be in here in studio consuming a pimento cheese milkshake in honor of what the University of Miami did for, I guess, Masters Weekend. As I said before, vanilla yogurt and ice cream, vanilla syrup, pimento cheese, and potato chips in the milkshake, then topped with a pimento cheese sandwich, also in the milkshake. So, that's the penalty for the loser. You okay with that?
Doesn't sound like I have a choice, so
no,
yeah, let's do it.
Of course you don't have a choice. What did you do? What did you lose that you had to do the Tyus Bowser spaghetti
ranch?
Yeah, what did you lose that you had to do that?
Was that a fantasy matchup? Was that what it was?
Oh, it was
I think it was a fantasy matchup playoffs with us.
It was a side bet is what it was. That's what he lost. Now, I am to understand that in past years we have gone really deep with this.
Yeah, it was like what?
Like something like 20. Did we do like 20 picks each?
That's what it looked like.
I don't know that we have the ability to do 20 picks. I don't know that we're going to have the time. And at some point, I think that what you just heard from Griffin is he's not sure that he knows 20 prospects in this NFL draft.
I can come up with some names.
I think that's part
Griffin, of the Clark probably exists.
Yeah, Griffin Clark.
Maybe he's a Ravens fan.
Sure, Griffin Clark. Just make one up. We'll see how far we go. We'll see where we want to tap out. But that's the way that it works. Joe, because you're, quote-unquote, the expert, we're not going to give – Griffin's also a newcomer, so I'll let Griffin decide whether he wants the first, second, or the third, with, of course, the third being the snake. So we'll do a snake draft.
So I'd get two back-to-back there. All right, then sure. I'll go – well, I mean, you're just claiming you know what they're going to do.
I have no idea what they're going to do. You just said I know exactly who they're going to pick. I just said I'm confident there are two players that they like based on everything that I've done. I don't know that they're drafting either one of those players, and I would tell you that one of them, the fact that they've been so publicly connected to them almost makes me reluctant.
And backs you off.
And makes me say perhaps they are purposefully misleading a lot of people in this process.
I'll take the third pick.
You will take the third pick and the snake. So I'll go.
Pick the order. Can I say Joe goes first and you have to go second?
Sure, you can do that.
Actually, I don't know if I want to pick right after you.
You can do that.
No, you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. So Joe, you go second.
All righty, let's do it.
The draft is brought to you by the print issue of PressBox, which is available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. And inside, you find that cover story from Luke Jackson about the hard road back from Tommy John surgery for Felix Bautista, Tyler Wells, Kyle Bradish, et al. Also, some great Samuel Basayo content in there. Lots of really good stuff inside this print issue of PressBox, which is, again, available for free wherever you get PressBox. You can read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. All right, with the first pick in our draft. Appreciate that. Thank you. That actually
had it ready. Yeah.
That makes me happy. I will take Georgia safety Malachi Starks.
Darn it!
I will do that.
I think that's the easiest pick to make.
Look, I will tell you that is one of the two players that I have been told by my own sources that the Ravens definitively like, that it's not BS, that they like. Now, what I would also tell you is that what I just said does concern me. Like the way that Matt Miller just wrote that at ESPN, where he said this is the Ravens' dream pick, and they have already that makes me think that they are purposely putting misinformation out there. Now, I would tell you that when I say sources, my sources are not inside one winning drive. League sources. And I suss a lot of this stuff out and what's BS and what's then people just throwing S at walls. I would tell you that multiple people have told me that they know the Ravens like Malachi Starks. So I also like Malachi Starks. And so that combination of things is enough for me to say I'll make him the first pick. Malachi Starks is who I go with in round one. So, again, this doesn't have to be their first-round pick. It could be a pick at any point during the course of the draft.
So if Malachi Starks falls to the 7th round and they
somehow that works out that way. Joe, who is your first pick in the draft?
I'm going to go with the guy that I have repeatedly linked to the Ravens, and it's Oregon defensive lineman Derek Harmon. I think he is a person that, it's no secret that the Ravens need some kind of help along the defensive line, whether it's going to be a pass rusher or somebody who's throwing the rotation with Travis Jones and Matabuke. So Harmon's a guy who's just an ideal fit for the team. So I've been mocking him to the Ravens probably the last two mocks. I think he's just somebody who makes a lot of sense for Baltimore.
All right. When we did this exercise with Ken Zales a couple weeks ago and did our own mock draft, that ended up being the pick that I made and that KZ agreed with for the Ravens at 27. So, go ahead. You get two picks here.
All right.
You do need to pick up the pace of this a little bit.
All right. Then I guess we'll go with a guy that I guess probably makes a lot of sense for the Ravens. I'm not all that. I mean, if they go O-line, I don't think you can be mad at it, but I'm not going to be. It's not obviously going to be the sexiest thing. I'll go with Tyler Booker.
Tyler Booker is the other player that I am confident, based on the number of sources that I've spoken to, that the Ravens like. Again, that doesn't mean that's who they're going to draft. I'm not an idiot. But I am confident that is genuine, that the Ravens like Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker.
And then I'll go with another guy that I'm excited about. I'll go with Nick Manworthy out of South Carolina, the other safety.
Obviously another safety that could be on the board at that point, and we certainly think the Ravens could be in the market for a safety. Joe, back to you.
All right, I'm going to go with my favorite first-round talent. I don't know if he's going to be there available for him, though. I'm going to go with Donovan, and hopefully I don't butcher his last name.
Izaraku, yeah, sure. I'm not really sure either.
Boston College edge. I don't think he'll be there. I think if they want him, they might have to move up for him, but he is my favorite pass rusher other than Abdul Carter in this draft.
I feel like I'm kind of flooding the market or flooding the zone a little bit with this, but I'm going to go safety again. I brought him up. Xavier Watts was an interception machine at Notre Dame. One area of the Ravens, and I wrote about it for PressBox, that if you said what's something the Ravens absolutely must address, that's the one thing that's got to change this year. Like, they have to get takeaways. 2 years ago, they were the best team in the NFL in terms of takeaways. Last year, they took a dramatic step backwards in the takeaway department. They have to improve in the takeaway department. I would not be unhappy with I think it's a stretch for Xavier Watts at 27, but in a world where perhaps they trade back out of the first round, or if somehow he were to fall to them at the end of the second round, Xavier Watts from Notre Dame is going to be my second pick in the draft. And I feel like at this point I should almost just take all of the safeties.
Right.
Although you took a Manworthy, so like there's no option to do that.
I guess.
I'll stay in the secondary because I do think that they're going to address cornerback as well. We've talked about this. Like, if you looked at the micro, like what does this team need in order to be ready to go for week 1 of the NFL season? I do still think that like cornerback is pretty high on that list. With that in mind, I will go Siobhan Ravel from East Carolina as my third pick.
I love your pick of Watts. I'm hoping he's somebody that's available that maybe in that second round. But I agree with you. I think he's what the Ravens need. He is a playmaker at the back end, and he can fill a lot of the roles that allows Kyle Hamilton to move down. I'm going to go with, because that was my pick there, Xavier.
Now I feel good.
I'm going to go with Azare Thomas, the cornerback from Florida State. He is the prototypical Ravens corner based on his size, the way he plays. I think he's somebody who's absolutely going to be a target in the second round.
So that's why I like Ravel's size for that reason, right? Like, that's what I like about Ravel.
I just think Ravel in that second round is probably going to.
He's not falling.
I get the vibe. Yeah, I get the vibe. He's like an early second round pick. Right. I don't know if he's going to be there in that the later of the second round.
I get that. Very good. Griffin, 2 picks.
All right. I think I'm going to go with a couple defense here. One, we have no idea how this defensive line is going to shake out. Specifically, I feel like I'm not gonna take him. I don't think.
Okay, well, take somebody.
Okay, all right. I'll go with. I'm gonna go D-line. I'm gonna take Shamar Turner.
Okay.
From Texas A&M. From the Aggies. I think the Ravens are definitely going to go defensive line at some point early. I got a good feeling about that, like specifically interior defensive line.
If they take Shamar Stewart, you don't get a point for them taking Shamar out of Texas A&M.
Oh, come on. That's how it should work. Should I take both Shamars right here just to make sure?
Right? You could flood the Shamar zone. That is possible.
Just take them both.
Yeah, right.
I'll go with Maxwell Hairston as well.
Maxwell Hairston,
another corner.
Is a cornerback. And we all assume they're going corner, but will it be in round 1? Because I think it's probably similar to Ravel. I don't know how far he would fall after that. Next, Joe.
I'm going to take the other Shamar. Let's go with Shamar Stewart at 27, being a possibility there.
Is this somehow Shamar Stewart's sitting there at 27 and the Ravens just say, oh, hell, what are we doing? Take that guy type of play?
I don't know about exactly that. I think he is kind of the last of the edge rushers that'll be there at the back half of the first round there. So I think he fits the system. I don't think that's an issue there. I just think he might be one of those situations where he's what's left at pass rusher there, and if they don't decide to move back, that he's a possibility there.
All right, I need to get into the edge rush conversation before you guys take all of them, so I'm going to grab 2 of them here. I will take James Pierce, who I will tell you, a lot of us have talked about James.
Love him.
What's that?
I love him.
So
I know he's got off the field, but I love him
It's
too.
really funny you say that, right? A lot of people have told me he's somebody that they're starting to think is going to fall until deeper into the second round.
Wow.
Which is really weird to me because I'm with you as far as a football player. I really like him too. And I'll go with Oladejo from UCLA. Oluwafemi Oladejo, just to add another edge rusher and get into that market.
I'm going to get into the safety market now, but I think I'm going to go a little bit further back than most. I'm going to go with Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas. That guy was phenomenal this year for Texas. He is a turnover machine. You kind of just alluded to it. That's what the Ravens need. So I'm going to go with him as somebody that could be potentially there in the second or third round for them.
All right. Griffin, you got 2 picks.
All right, let's see. I got an O lineman, I got a safety, I got a corner, I got a D lineman here. So I should get into the edge market as well. I'm going to go. Should I take 2 edges here? I think there's a lot of, because I think Daniel Jeremiah had Mike Green falling completely out of the first round in his mock draft last night. I'll go ahead and throw Mike Green on my list
All
here.
right, just someone that happens to fall, and you're sitting there saying, let's do it.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go with Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State.
Obviously made the huge play to what was that, in the semifinals?
Yes.
Of the college football
pick
playoff
6.
to clinch that.
Or fumble 6, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. All right, back to you, Joe Serpico.
I'm going to go with a local talent. Let's add Jordan Phillips, the defensive tackle from Maryland, to my list.
Athletic freak, Jordan Phillips.
Yes. I agree with that. And, we just talked about it. We need some help up front on the defensive line. He's local. This is a very, very deep talent class for defensive tackles. And Phillips is just a guy who's just going to fall just because of that reason, and he's going to be a hell of a pickup in those third or fourth rounds.
If I was playing the role of Ken Zales, I would say something like, who the hell cares that he's local? That doesn't mean anything. Yeah. But I actually think he's just he's an unbelievably dynamic football player. That had to take on a lot of attention at Maryland, and you get him lined up next to a higher level of caliber player, then teams aren't just going to be immediately sending double teams his way, and it can free him up to do more things in the backfield. I need to get into the offensive line market. I'll go Savaianea from Arizona. I don't know if that's correct, and I apologize to Jonah and his family, and we will learn it for sure if that ends up being what the Ravens do. I am still confident that they're going to be drafting interior linemen. The only question is it in round 1 or not? I guess just because I keep bringing up the Gray Zabel Patrick McCary comparison. I don't know that the Ravens love Gray Zabel to the point where they'd be willing to draft him at 27. But I do think they love flexibility among offensive linemen. And having someone that can play, that they're confident can play so many positions is valuable. So I'll take Gray Zabel from North Dakota State with my 7th pick.
Okay, where am I at? You know what? Let's go real crazy here. We know the situation with Justin Tucker, right? So why not?
I like this.
Let's get a little crazy. Let's add Andres. I'm definitely butchering his name. Borregales, kicker from Miami.
I like that. I like that.
I think the Ravens, if they're going to want to get the kicker that they want, they're going to have to draft one in, let's say, round 6 or 7. That's the highly rated one in this draft class. If you want the guy you want, not putting yourself in a competition to, on the undrafted free agent market, you're going to have to draft one. So give me Miami's kicker as a potential to be in competition or even just flat out replace Justin Tucker.
I love it.
I'm gonna stick on the defensive side of the ball here. What I just went with a couple of edges on my last pick. I'll go secondary this time. Kevin Winston still. None of us have picked Kevin Winston.
Columbia native.
Yes, I will take Kevin Winston, the safety from Penn State. And then I will go to corner, and let's go with Trey Amos from Ole Miss, cornerback.
A couple of potential second-round guys there. I like that. Back to you, Joe Serpico, round 8.
I'm going to stay in the corner market as well. I'm going to go with Quincy Riley the cornerback from Louisville. I think he's somebody who can basically fill the other outside position outside of Nate Wiggins. You leave Marlon Humphrey in the slot there. So I think Riley's a guy who has potential to be with the Ravens in, let's say, the rounds 3 or 4.
All right, I don't want Joe to be the only one. I don't want to end up not having a chance to steal a point in the kicker market, so I'll take Ryan Fitzgerald here out of Florida State. And whether they would be willing to draft him or not, I don't know. It feels like maybe somebody that is more of a priority free agent, but I get it, and I understand exactly why you did that. I do think that they will draft a wide receiver at some point. Where that will be, I'm not sure. I think they could still use someone who looks more. Although I say this, they did this with Tez Walker a year ago. I'm gonna. I know that he didn't test well, but that almost seems like the thing that like the Ravens salivate over is like, yeah, he's better. So I know it was a disastrous week for Tez Johnson at the Senior Bowl, but Tez Johnson from Oregon seems like the type of guy that is a better football player than what he tested at. And so I think the Ravens will think they'll find some value there. Tez Johnson. Back-to-back Tez's at wide receiver in the draft for the Baltimore Ravens.
I like it. I'm going to go back to the interior defensive line and give me Omar Norman Lott, the defensive tackle for Tennessee.
Okay.
Kind of everything I said before about Harmon, I think you could say very similar things about Norman Lott there as well.
We're doing our draft again. The loser, the one of us, or multiple of us. So if the two of us come away with 0 points, then we both, by the way, if all three of us come away with 0 points, then we all three have to enjoy the pimento cheese milkshake.
All right, so this will be my 9th and my 10th pick here. I definitely think I need to get more offensive line exposure, but there's some D tackles I still really like. So I guess I'll do both. Let's go with Darius Alexander, D lineman out of Toledo.
Okay.
And on the offensive line route,
Also thought of as like the athletic freak type, correct?
Yes, yeah, and he had like, or at least early in the draft process, it felt like he was going to be a higher, like a day one, maybe or maybe even a day one pick. But now I'm not sure where. I have no idea where he's going to land. No one took Josh Simmons yet, have we?
No.
Josh Simmons out of Ohio State.
Okay. That's certainly a potential first-round pick.
Yep. I'll be honest, I thought he was taken. That's why I didn't mention him.
There you go. Look at that.
I'm going to go back to the safety market because somewhere one of us has got to be right about one of these safeties, so let's just keep hammering away. Give me Lathan Ransom, the safety from Ohio State.
Lathan Ransom, the 10th round pick for our guy Joe Serpico. All right, I'm going back to the somebody's got to get a point. We can't all go empty. I feel like anybody else that's even a possibility to go in round 1, we need to make sure that we take it off the board. You bring up Josh Simmons, so I'll be the one to take Nick Scourton, who is also still sitting there. Of course, the other edge from Texas A&M, who, as much attention as Shamar Stewart's gotten, a lot of people would say, hey, go look at the tape. It's the other guy that really impresses us. That's the one that I'd be taking if I were to be taking an edge rusher. But we'll see. I don't know how they feel about it. And, again, to just sort of continue to flood the safety zone because we're so confident they're going that route, I'll take R.J. Mickens from Clemson.
Give me a tight end just because we've heard all the rumblings that potentially Mark Andrews is out the door. So if that's a possibility, give me one of the top tight ends in this draft class. I'm going to add Mitchell Evans, the tight end from Notre Dame, to my list.
All right. Griffin, 2 picks.
All right. Mitchell Evans off the board. I'm going to go. There's still a lot of O-linemen out there.
There are.
They're definitely going to address O-line at some point. Let's go. I guess I'll take the Minnesota kid, Ariante Ursi. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Ursary, I believe.
Ursary. I'll take Ursary out of Minnesota. And I'll go back to corner as well because I do think they're definitely going to go there. I'll go LSU's Zy Alexander. Did we take? We didn't. No, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't say him. Nope. Zy Alexander Velez out of LSU.
I'm going to go to the interior line as well. Potential first rounder, but if the Ravens are going to get him, probably in the second round. Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. He can play both the guard and tackle position, so that kind of what the Ravens are looking for right now internally.
Agreed. That was probably going to be my next pick, so go F yourself. I guess only because let's clean it up. I don't think that Josh Connerly is going to be the pick, but Lord knows anything is possible. I'll take Josh Connerly there because I'm just trying to get all of the potential first-round options off the board. So Josh Connerly, who really is a tackle, but I have been told by a lot of people they think he could play guard if necessary, so I will take him there. And then I'll go back to the edge market. Somebody took Landon Jackson, correct? Or did I think that because you just took Donovan Jackson? Nobody's taking Landon Jackson, right?
I think Landon Jackson's available.
Landon Jackson from Arkansas.
All right, because that was my next pick. So go.
There you go.
Yourself back.
I like it.
All right. Well, then if I'll switch it up and I'll go back, stay on the interior defensive line this time. Give me T.J. Sanders from South Carolina.
Griffin, 2 more picks for you. If we can fly through this, we'll get to 20.
All right. T.J. Sanders off the board, and let's see, where do I need more exposure here? I've got 2 safeties. I've got a few corners here. Let's go with shoot. Do you think there's any chance he can fall? There's 2 first-round D linemen that I have no idea where they might land. Although Joe mentioned the tight end, I'm going to go tight end as well. Let's go with Mason Taylor out of LSU, tight end.
Okay.
Mason Taylor, and then I'll go. I'm gonna go to corner again. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame.
That was where I was going
next.
I like it. That was where I was going next. All right, Joe.
I'm gonna go back to the offensive line, and I'm gonna go with the West Virginia's Wyatt Milliam as a potential heir for Ronnie Stanley, maybe down the line.
I get
play that guard
I get the thought, and also you got to deal with the fact that he's got an injury history, and so. Might need to have a backup plan built in. All right, back to me. I realize I've only done a little bit in the cornerback market, which is why I wanted Benjamin Morrison. So, hate you. I'll go Denzel Burke out of Ohio State, and I'll go. Yuck. The problem is that we're still mostly focused on guys that are top 120 guys, and we're not really swinging for end of draft types of players because we don't know anything. Well, the other guy, Joe, might be able to steal some points that way. I don't feel like I can steal any points that way. I don't know. I'll go Jason Marshall Jr. from Florida.
I like it.
Jason, what position is he?
He's a corner.
Okay.
Cornerback.
Yes.
Well, if nobody, I'm going to try to do back-to-back in the same position here. Give me first Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia.
Okay. Griffin, 2 picks, quick.
All right, so Tate Ratledge off my board now. Then I'm going to keep going. I'm going to just keep hammering away at O-linemen that have caught my eye. Cameron Williams out of Texas. And then I'll go. I do think they take a wide receiver at some point too. Guy I really like. I'm gonna go with Stanford wide receiver Elik Eyamanor.
All right. Back to you.
I almost spilled it earlier because I was going to say I'm going to take 2 guards from the same college team. Give me also Dylan Fairchild, the other guard for Georgia.
Got it.
We know that they like their Georgia offensive linemen. So I'm swinging for the fences that they take one of the 2.
And it's worked so well with Ben Cleveland that why wouldn't they? My God. All right, I have not gotten into the tight end market yet, so I'll join you guys there. I'll go the former Terp that ended up at Alabama, C.J. Dupree, will be the first of my tight end picks. And then the other one I'll go with will be, just to piss off Griffin, I'll take Harold Fannin.
You bastard.
Yeah. Just because I know how much you love him.
I'm going to go with somebody from a smaller school, another one of those guys that could play guard for them and then potentially move out to tackle. But give me Charles Grant from William and Mary
All right.
as a potential third, fourth round pick.
Like it. Griffin?
Let me go with Willie Lampkin out of UNC, North Carolina, offensive
right.
lineman.
I'll do a quick scouting report on him.
He's going to North Carolina.
Thank you. Very good. Next.
He's over 300 pounds, probably.
Next.
And let's see, where do I want to go here? I'll take another safety, USC, Southern California. That is Akili Arnold, safety.
Okay. How many picks we got now? How many we got to
you
go?
got 3 left.
3 left. All right. Well, then I'm going to make this one now. Give me Kobe Bryant, not the basketball player,
Right.
the cornerback from Kansas, who is some comparing him to being a dog, just like the original Kobe. So that's the kind of guy the Ravens need in that second.
Sure. I'm going to go with that. I couldn't agree more. I believe he's got 2 E's, Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
I'll go one more tight end just so that I have fully dipped my toes into the market. Let me go Oronde Gadsden. Oronde Gadsden the second, obviously the son of the former Miami Dolphin out of Syracuse. And then none of us have taken a true linebacker. And, we know the Ravens are going to draft a linebacker at some point. I'll go I thought of it. Maybe I go with our guest today. Maybe I go with Jamon Dumas-Johnson out of Kentucky.
All right.
I'm going to go back to the safety marker. Why not? Let's flood this out. Give me Malachi Moore, the safety from Alabama. We know the history between Alabama guys and Baltimore, so why not add one more to the mix?
Final 2 picks, Griffin.
Oh, these are my final 2. So I gotta empty
the chamber, if you will.
Here. So
the one that you really liked the whole time, but you didn't make it.
Right. Let's see. So does that mean I have to go with Scadaboo here?
Oh, you do love Cam Scadaboo. That's your guy.
I don't think there's any way they land him though. Let me go. I do want to grab a running back. I'll go with Trevor Etienne out of Georgia, and one more D lineman flyer, because who knows, they might end up taking 8 of them. Cameron Jackson out of Florida. We didn't say him, right? No, Cameron Jackson out of Florida.
I have not, but that doesn't mean anything.
I'm going to go with I'm going to dip my toes in the receiver market with my last pick, and it's a local product. Give me Dante Thornton, the Tennessee wide receiver. Speedster, and let's face it, Hopkins is on 1 year. We don't know what's going on with Bateman, so they do need to find somebody that could potentially be in the future of the team. So give me Thornton and maybe even Walker going down the line.
All right, and I get the final pick, and just again because I feel like it would be poetic justice, I'll take Cam Scadaboo. Not because I think they're going to take him, but just because it would make me so happy if somehow it worked out that way, just to piss off Griffin. All right, very good. Those are our teams. Now tonight, the genuine expectation. Joe Serpico, what do the Ravens do at 27?
I think if the edge rushers are all gone, that they're going to move back. If they can't get a guy like Izaraku, or even I think Scorton's like basically the bare minimum there. They're going to do that. If not, they're going to move back. Otherwise, I think it's Malachi Starks. I think he's the guy that we've heard about. He's linked to it. You mentioned to it. He reminds me of Hamilton just a couple of years ago, where he was such a highly touted prospect that for some reason just keeps getting pushed further and further back, and I think that's going to be a mistake. So if he falls to the Ravens, it's a dream situation for him. So give me either Izaraku or Starks, and I would be happy for the Ravens.
The only thing that with Izaraku is I don't know how different is he than the edge rushers that are available in the next round or two. That's the part that I'm struggling with, is that everybody's trying to sell me that second and third round is still really good for edge rush.
It does have some. I think it's more flooded, let's say, with corners and defensive tackles in rounds 2 or 3.
Okay.
That's why I think if you're going to really do it, let's do. If you want your guy a pass rusher, get him in the first round, and then you can find a cornerback or a defensive tackle, or even safeties are still kind of there in rounds 2 or 3. I think edge rushers kind of clears up after the first 5 or 6 of those guys.
And
I think if you're going to do it, go those guys that route, and then you dress your secondary with the second and third round.
All right. Is there anybody else that fits in the category of this guy falls, the Ravens just race up and take him, even though maybe it's not who we've been talking about?
Well, I mean, you picked them. If Xavier Watts somehow falls to that second or to their second pick, that's an instant pick for me. Like I said before, I think he's the guy that makes the most sense for them in the Ravens secondary, just because he's more of the true coverage guy and makes turnovers back there. So if he happens to fall, they absolutely are running up there to grab him, if you ask me.
All right, very good. At Joe Serp, that's how you follow him, PressBoxOnline.com. I assume you're going to have something up for tomorrow?
Probably not tomorrow, but there will definitely be something after the whole thing is done. But yeah, I'll be tweeting or Xing, whatever we're calling it these days, throughout the show tonight. So, and hopefully they make a pick and we're not just sitting around for hours for no reason.
Who do you want the Eagles to take, Joe?
To be honest, they have a lot of the similar needs as the Ravens do. So honestly, if it's whoever the Ravens don't get, I wouldn't mind seeing the Eagles come up with. So if it's one of those, again, if they get Xavier Watts, I would love it. If one of the defensive ends were to follow them too, I hear a lot of Maxwell Harrison's name being thrown around in Philly as well. So any of those guys I would absolutely be happy about. But yeah, it is kind of weird that both teams have like similar needs, so I can kind of follow all the same guys and hope if they don't go to Baltimore, they end up in Philadelphia.
Very good. All right, buddy. We'll be looking forward to it. We'll talk again next week, and we'll see who it is that's enjoying some pimento cheese milkshake. Thank you, my friends.
Anytime, guys. We'll talk soon.
Joe Serpico with us. We'll get it posted, the results of our draft, and then we will be following along throughout the course of the weekend. The only thing we didn't bring up, I remember this being an issue, is in the case of a tie, if someone on our list was a Ravens undrafted free agent signee, do we give the bump?
Do we give a half, or is it?
It's just a tiebreaker. It's not really a point. It's just a tiebreaker.
Gotcha.
That like if
let's see.
I'm trying to think
Willie
of
Lampkin, the North Carolina
Willie
guard.
Lampkin doesn't get drafted, but he's one of their signees, and you and I both finished with 1, and Joe got 2. Then
I get the edge.
Well, I don't know. We have to agree to that. Like that's sort of
okay.
We didn't draft that way, so it's maybe unfair to change the rules
Yeah.
afterwards. No, you know what? It is. It's unfair to change the rules afterwards.
Because now you know I'm going to win because I got Willie.
I feel like that.
I got Willie Lampkin.
I feel like that came up one year where we just we're like, well, yeah, but I got that. I feel like that was the thing.
Yeah.
All right, that's our draft, and we'll get that
Would have
posted.
taken more Terps then, just to do
right.
Yeah. Can I get the undrafted guy, whichever one they end up with?
Rayon Lane.
Yeah,
guys like
Rayon Lane, Dante Trader.
All right, very good. Now, when we come back in, speaking of the Terps, we're going to be catching up with Myles Rice, who is an incoming Terp. He's headed to play basketball at the University of Maryland. We will find out about that decision. And still to come today, we are going to talk to a draft prospect, Jamon Dumas-Johnson. So still a lot to do here on a NFL Draft Day edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Something big is coming to Maryland, but it's more than what you think. Because this year, it's more than a race. It's the Preakness Festival 150. And if there's one event you don't want to miss, it's the Magic of Maryland Music Celebration with DJ D-Nice, Club Quarantine 5 Live, BSO alongside conductor Igmar Thomas, special performances by Deborah Cox, Jadakiss, Too Short, and more. Tickets are limited. Find them and see all other events free and ticketed at PreaknessFestival.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles top prospect Samuel Basayo. PressBox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. County Sports Zone is the place to find everything that you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland. Scores, schedules, rankings, news, updates. Obviously, right now we're in the throes of spring sports season, so they've got you covered for public and private school, boys and girls lacrosse, baseball, softball. But they've got everything at countysports.zone. Find it all there. If there's a particular team, you graduated from a school, you just want to check in and see how they're doing, they've got you covered. Everything that you could possibly want to know about high school sports, you can find at countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. From Dan says, Glenn, do you have an expectation of what time the Ravens are picking? No.
Oh, that should have been the tiebreaker. We all picked the time.
What time the pick is made? That actually wouldn't have been a bad tiebreaker. Damn. Do you want to do that?
Do you want me to call Joe back? Or
we don't have to call him. You can just text him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll text Joe.
Jesus Christ. So the first round starts at 8 on the dot, correct? Is that the deal?
I mean, yes, it starts, yes.
And they start the proceedings at 8 on the dot. Now, this also means if they trade out of the pick,
void or...
Well, no, really, I guess it becomes whoever picks the latest time.
Yeah.
Because their first pick will be made,
Right.
you'll be closest. This is the tiebreaker. This is only if there is a tie. Man, I guess we don't want to give anybody, he needs to send a time.
Yeah.
And then you need to write a time down, and I need to write a time down.
Okay.
Man. Oh, God, this sucks.
Yeah, this is really bad. I just wrote down 3 different times and scratched them all out.
Right? Well, because then now you're trying to play strategy a little bit. All right, I've got
mine.
You have yours?
Yes.
Put a star next to it so that
Okay.
we know it's the one. All right. I'm going to say... All right, I'm putting my time down. We're not going to say it until we get Joe's, right? Once Joe sends you a time, then we can say what ours are. But they're written down. There's a star next to them. That's the pick. That'll be the tiebreaker for our draft is what time do they make their first pick? And again, if they don't make the pick tonight, then whoever picked the latest time ends up I don't know, man. Because you don't want to play for that. You want to get it. This sucks.
All right, come on, put a star next to it.
And it's what time the pick is announced.
When Goodell reads it, right?
Not when it says the pick is in.
It's when it's...
And are you going to you're going to monitor this?
Yeah, sure,
tonight?
I guess. I can make sure I monitor it, yeah.
Okay. This sucks, man.
Not what time Rappaport tweets it.
Right. Well, then,
it's when Goodell reads it.
All right, I'm committed to it. I'm committed to a time. That's it. No more updating it. So, yeah, the answer to the question is I have no idea what time they're making their pick. Appreciate the question. No idea. Also, hey, no thank you whatsoever to Jimmy Butler. I needed to get on the bike last night because what was I doing yesterday? I had a Stevenson lacrosse game, and I wasn't able to go to the gym ahead of the game, so I needed to get on the bike last night instead. And so I said, I know what'll keep me company on the bike is watching the basketball. I'm like, that'll be the way that I I stay on the bike because, I try to do a good hour and a half on the bike. And so I said, I'll really enjoy watching the basketball. And then, of course, Jimmy Butler gets hurt, and you're like, right. Right. I remember what the Warriors were before they added Jimmy Butler. They're not a threat. Now, it was fun to watch Pat Spencer play some serious minutes in the first half last night. Like, that was cool. And give them actually a little bit of a boost off the bench. Like, that was really cool for me. But the Warriors without Jimmy Butler are not a threat. Not just they're barely a threat to win a game without Jimmy Butler.
I have Joe's pick.
You have Joe's pick.
Yes, I have Joe's time.
Do you want to read it? Do you want to read his first?
Yes, sir. We can. All right. So Joe.
He
didn't specify AM or PM. So
I think we're good.
11:23.
Wow, that's
is
late.
Joe's pick.
Late.
Yeah, he's gonna be running behind.
What
Maybe
did
who knows? Maybe it could be chaos.
What did you write down?
I wrote 11:08 PM.
Oh boy, I've got the earliest. I wrote 10:52.
Darn it! So I'm but I feel like I'm the most.
Yeah, you got to
kind
almost
of.
get it. You almost have to nail it in order for
Yeah.
yours to be correct. I scratched out 11:11, and then I scratched out 10:59.
I also had 10:53. I scratched out.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that would have been the worst for you because then
probably.
you basically. I know that I guess would have been better than what you have. I still
Yeah,
have a
probably,
few minutes.
so
I take that back.
It probably still would have took me up to about 11:08ish.
Yeah. 10:52 is the time that I wrote down there for the Ravens pick. All right, very good. Those are tiebreakers. Yeah, Jimmy Butler hurts his pelvis. Do we have an update on that yet? Has there been
at least not this morning.
I mean, it was a hard fall. Like it was a hard fall, but there was no game after that point, and I was scrambling. I was disappointed when that ended up being the case. Not because I'm rooting for the Warriors, because I was rooting for good basketball.
Well, John, that one where Proctor said his pick is 8:41 tomorrow night.
8:41 tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, so John, they start at 7 tomorrow. So
yeah, that would. They would have to not be trading back. They would have to be trading, just lighting the pick on, like trading it for a first rounder next year.
Take it.
If that were to be the case. What is Proctor? If he wanted it in the draft, he should have told us. Son of a bitch. All right, very good. Now, we had to do this a little bit earlier on because of his schedule, but an opportunity to catch up with one of the newest Maryland basketball players here on GCR. We know over the last couple of weeks we have been meeting the incoming members of the Maryland basketball team and really looking forward to chatting with this guy who tried to make Maryland's fans' lives hell when he played against them out in Bloomington earlier this season. But now he's on the other side of things, and he is a Terp. He is Myles Rice, and he is with us here on GCR. Myles, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us this morning.
Yes, sir. No problem at all. I'm happy to talk to you.
Hey, Myles, if I took you back to that day and that battle that you guys had, if I had told you, hey, by the way, in a couple of months, you're going to be wearing the other color red, what would you have said then?
I wouldn't have believed you because I was so focused on getting that win against Maryland and everybody else in the Big Ten. But, I mean, since I've been here, I kind of like everything that Maryland's about. The campus is beautiful. The people out here are amazing. And I'm happy that I'm wearing this red now.
That's awesome, man. Myles, can you take me through how this came about for you, right? Like, obviously you make the decision, and we know that it was a time of change, of course, at Indiana, and so it makes all the sense in the world. But why was Maryland the spot for you? Why was Coach Buzz someone that you wanted to connect with?
Honestly, Coach Buzz and the staff is just a staff that believes in me. They're going to put me in the best situation to thrive, not only as a basketball player, but as a man and as a man of faith as well. And I think those are the things that I kind of hang my hat on. It's just growing not only just within my sport, but as an individual as well. And I just think they put that belief and faith in everybody into the team, and that goes hand in hand with the people out here. Since I came here on a visit, the people out here, the weather out here, the entire city is just something to fall in love with. And I'm just happy that I'm a Maryland Terp now.
I appreciate that you came to – if you're worried about the weather, I'm really glad you came to visit now and not, say, in January, because now I might be worried that you might not have made the same decision at that point. There is a bad winter. It's going to be brutal, but obviously you've been in some other places, so you know a thing or two about that. Myles, we had the chance to meet Isaiah Watts last week. That relationship, can you tell me about Did that play a role at all in you guys making the decision? Like, was it maybe just a cool thing for you that it worked out that way, that you guys could reconnect?
No, once I committed, the coaches, they kind of gave me a list of guys that they wanted to kind of go after a little bit, and they knew I had some familiarity with Isaiah, playing with him and knowing what he could bring to the table. They asked me what did I think, and I gave him the real. I told him I think he can help us out. And so I was definitely in his ear a little bit trying to get him to come here. And I'm just happy that we was able to pull it off, and happy that he's here at Maryland now.
That's really cool, man. Myles, for you, your role, I'm gonna guess that like you're gonna be kind of a guy that's gonna be leading and stirring the drink for this team this season. Can you take me through? I guess one, is that your expectation for what it is that you're doing for this team? Is leading on ball this season? And does that give you, in a time where there's a lot of change and all sorts of different faces, does it give you sort of maybe the responsibility of being the leader of this group moving forward?
I definitely think with even playing point guard regardless, you're an extension of the head coach. So you're automatically going to be put in a position to lead others, and not only just lead them, but lead yourself as well and hold yourself to a certain standard to be great every single day, night in and night out. And that's just the type of person I am, and that's the type of player that I am. I'm a guard that leads, not necessarily just, on the offensive end or defensive end, but just in the whole game. And I think that's what Coach Buzz wants me to do. I think that's what the entire coaching staff want me to do. And I believe that my teammates, they're going to allow me to do that as well. So just being that leader and that voice and that extension of Buzz Williams is all that I can really, put out there, and that's what he's going to get me to do.
Myles Rice is with us here on GCR. Myles, is that more difficult in a circumstance where there's so many new faces and moving parts? Or I keep asking guys this, is that just basketball at this point, right? Like that it's really not as crazy to you guys as it maybe is to everybody on the outside who thinks that it might be tough to be a leader for a group that's all coming together like this?
No, I think it just presents the challenge of, us having to get tighter and closer, just as well as everybody else who might just have, everybody that's been there since their freshman year. It gives us a time to really bond in the summer, to really get to know one another. And I think the things that we do in the summertime to get familiar with one another will help us down the line when we're trying to play in March.
Myles, you mentioned what it is, and we've heard from a lot of people who have talked about Coach Buzz and his concern about you, the person, beyond you, the basketball player, and you alluded to that a second ago. Did you know anything about Coach Buzz before you went through this process? Had you talked to him before? He'd ever recruited you before? Was this all something that you learned in a short amount of time about what made him maybe a little bit more unique than your average college basketball coach?
No, growing up, I watched a couple. I watched college basketball, so I knew about his time at Marquette and his time at Virginia Tech. But he recruited me pretty good before I made my decision to go to Indiana.
Okay.
And so once I made the decision to leave Indiana, this staff was the first one to come back reaching out to me. And everything that I fell in love with them the first time was made a hard decision for me. Became pretty easy this time because I knew that they were going to have my best interests. And I'm grateful that they came back around and wanted me to still be a part of their program. And I think we're going to flourish and do the things that we need to do here.
Myles, I think a lot of people are familiar with your story and having battled lymphoma and what that did, the time that you were away from basketball because of it. I wonder, has that given you a different perspective as an athlete and maybe just as a person for how you treat things, how you do things, how much some things matter, some things maybe don't matter? Like, how did going through that change you as a human?
I believe it just changed my mindset. I appreciate every little thing that comes my way, whether it's on the court, off the court. Just going through those experiences for the little things. I mean, having my family behind me and making them proud and making my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ proud is all that I really try to go do. I mean, I'm not going out here to, prove anybody wrong, prove anybody right. I just go out there and play for the simple love of the game and just make the ones that are supporting me happy. And that's all I can ask for. I
appreciate that, man. I think it's powerful. Do you ever find yourself maybe having to remind other guys, like, hey, we got to keep focused. Do you have a little bit of that in you? You mentioned obviously being a point guard, being a leader, but do you do any of that? Like, hey, whatever you think you're going through that's tough, maybe it's not quite as tough as you think it is.
Well, not necessarily in that sense, but just reminding them that basketball is a game and you're supposed to have fun with it. So whenever you're experiencing, hard times, it's part of the process. That's what life is, through ups and downs. But you got to stay mellow. You got to stay in the middle of it and can't get too high or too low. And just, accept it for what it is. Whether it's a good problem or a bad problem, you have to adjust no matter what. And I think the biggest thing for me that I always try to just remind guys is, like I said, it's a game. We're meant to have fun, so let's go out there and just have fun and don't worry about the outcome and just do everything we need to do on the right side of the spectrum, and everything will take care of itself.
I like the sounds of that. As someone who has had a lot of stops and has been through a lot of different things, I think a lot of people would say, hey, when there's a new staff and a new group, maybe it's going to take some time. Is your perspective like, nah, we're going to hit the ground running? Like, I'm not here to take time to make this thing work. Is your perspective that you intend to go win immediately now at the University of Maryland?
Of course, I feel like every athlete or every competitor wants to win, no matter what, given the circumstances. And there's been teams that have been gelled together for a long time that haven't won, and there's been teams who just got put together last year and they won big. So I think it's all about the buy-in and giving yourself up to not only, the coaching staff, but how we want to do things and how we can help each other individually and collectively to do what we need to do, which is ultimately win and win at a high level.
I know you're kind of like a national traveler at this point, right? Like from the Southeast to the Pacific Northwest to the Midwest. Do you have any ties, any connection to this area whatsoever? Was there like anybody in your life that was like, oh, Maryland, that's perfect. I'm glad because you're going to be a little bit closer to them.
No, just one of my good friends. He's from the DMV that I went to high school with. And I have an auntie that, stays in Philadelphia. But other than that, I don't think it's too many people out here. I think the closest is probably North Carolina, maybe Virginia.
I guess that's still closer than, being in Maryland. It's still closer to them than being in Indiana or being in Washington State, though. I imagine maybe they don't mind that like the travel's going to be a little bit closer for them to come see you play.
Yeah, they would make the travel regardless, though, just because, as I said, that's the support system that I have. That's the type of love that my family, we pour into each other. So, I mean, it definitely helps that now it's more of like a maybe 3-4 hour drive versus 8 or 9.
Hey, that's not so bad. Myles, I know at Washington State you were a little bit more of we saw a bit more scoring, right? And certainly, Maryland fans saw you as a scorer in that game out at Indiana this year. Do you envision your role at Maryland to be a little bit more of a score first? Like, I'm really impressed by you as a passer, but do you see more of that this season?
I think I'll just be in a position to be, as a lead guard, to just be aggressive and not just, whether it's passing or scoring, just go out there and make the right play. And I think that's when, basketball is thriving, when you're not being passive or you're looking to put the pressure on somebody. And I think I've had the tale of two ends. I've learned how to be, very passive and very, score first. But now I think this is going to be the beautiful combination of, putting everything together and giving a nice daily dosage of, either one. So, like, if you want to take one thing away, I can do that, and vice versa. So I think it just puts me in a position to, like I said, create for my teammates, be aggressive for them, and be aggressive for myself.
I guess I brought up Isaiah. Is there anybody else on this roster that, like, from, basketball's such a funny thing, and everybody kind of runs into each other. Is there anybody else on this roster that from somewhere else, and that it's a cool thing for you that you're getting to kind of unite with them here at Maryland?
Yeah, well, me and Pharrell Payne, we was on our visit at the same time at Indiana, and then me and Solomon Washington, we played against each other, I want to say, my last summer in AAU up in Rock Hill. It was the Atlanta Celtics versus Team Thad, and that's where I remember him from. And then, crazy enough, my freshman year, we played against Buzz and them when he was at A&M in the Final Four, the NIT up in Madison Square Garden. So the ties have always been there in some type of way. So it's beautiful to see everything come together.
Man, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. And how does it, like, what is the process for you as you try to gel with these guys quickly? Is it, texts? Is it reaching out on socials? Is it trying to organize? Like, how do you, as a point guard, as a leader, maybe try to work that process of gelling with this group of guys a little bit quicker so you can hit the ground running in the fall?
I believe it's just showing that you actually want to get to know the person, like, outside of just their sport and just understand who that person is. I think that there's nothing more beautiful than that, to have a teammate and a friend and somebody in the world who actually wants to get to know you for you and the things that, you've been through, good or bad, and not try to use them against you in any kind of way, but just for an understanding purposes. And I think that's what the coaching staff puts into us, and we put into them, and we put into each other all around the staff. So it's going to take time, of course. It's not just going to be day one or day two. It's going to take an entire summer and entire off season, and maybe even a little part of the non-conference as well. So just trying to get as much of comfortability and familiarity we can with one another, because we all come from different places. And, as authentic and genuine as possible would be the biggest step.
All right, so with that in mind, let's wrap with that, right? I want to get to know you, Myles. Obviously, it's very clear how important your faith is to you. What else? What else is it away from basketball? What are the things that you're into? What are you driving for? What makes Myles Rice tick?
Just making my family proud. That's the most important thing. They've been, behind me since day one, before I even picked up a basketball. They put me in positions to, thrive. They put me in positions to, sometimes it wasn't, I thought was the best situation for me, but it ended up being a really good situation for me. And so just having them behind me and just doing everything I can for them and the ones that support me is the thing that makes me keep going each and every day, truthfully.
That's awesome, man. Myles, Twitter, Instagram, social media in general, where can Maryland fans be giving you a follow to get to know you more?
They can give me a follow on Instagram. It's just my name, Myles Rice. And that's really the only kind of social media that I'm on right now. I don't get too deeply into that, but I think I've had Instagram for a little while now, so they can definitely follow me there.
Good for you. I'd like to get away from it. I'd like to detox entirely if possible, because it is a cesspool, man. But I appreciate that. Myles Rice, it's great to meet you. It's great to get to know you. We can't wait to see what it is that you're going to bring to this team once you get here in the fall. Congratulations on being a Terp. Thank you so much for taking the time for us this morning.
No, I thank you. I appreciate it. And everybody who gets this meme out there, they'll get it. But I like turtles.
Of course, everybody knows I like turtles, and Scott Van Pelt uses that regularly on his show whenever a former or current Terp does something. He loves to hit that sound. I like turtles. Not bad. Well done, Myles Rice. Appreciate that. Myles Rice taking the time for us this morning. Good to get to meet him as we continue. I believe Andre Mills is going to join us tomorrow as we continue to meet the incoming members of the Maryland basketball team that they are still putting together, as obviously it looks like it'll be no one from last year, except who knows, maybe Juju Reese could still be in the equation somehow.
I think we'd take that, right?
Yeah, obviously you'd take him. But I don't even know. Again, this goes back to the point. Like, Juju Reese, his coach isn't here. The staff isn't here. None of his teammates are here.
It's all right. He's a Maryland guy.
It's the question of it's like talking to Myles Rice. Like, he never even visited Maryland. He's just like, my coach is there, my teammates are there. That's kind of home to me, even though he's literally had never been there before. That's just sort of the new reality of college basketball. When we come back in, we're going to make our trip down to Bowie. We're going to chat with Doug Hodo, Baysox outfielder, Orioles prospect. That's next on a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high-fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Something big is coming to Maryland, but it's more than what you think. Because this year, it's more than a race. It's the Preakness Festival 150. And if there's one event you don't want to miss, it's the Magic of Maryland Music Celebration with DJ D-Nice, Club Quarantine 5 Live, BSO alongside conductor Igmar Thomas, special performances by Deborah Cox, Jadakiss, Too Short, and more. Tickets are limited. Find them and see all other events free and ticketed at PreaknessFestival.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles top prospect Samuel Basayo. PressBox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com. Where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program, and it's time for us to make our weekly trip down to Bowie to chat with a member of the Baysox, and joining us this morning as he's getting on base at a pretty tremendous clip to start the season. I'm sure he wants to pick the average up. Let's catch up with outfielder Doug Hodo, who's with us here on the program. Doug, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you again for taking the time for us this morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be on.
I remember talking to you last year when you got the call up, right? And I just wonder what just that little taste last season did for you, getting to the AA level, getting to adjust, because everybody always talks about like high A to double A is the biggest jump that you make because now you're starting to face major leaguers, right? What did it do to you to maybe get that out of the way, that adjustment period at the end of last season?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. Going in an off season, having stuff to work on is vital to, having a good season the following year. So just getting a little taste of it, even though it was a few weeks, was great and gave me something to not only work on, but like look forward to for next year and having a kind of expectation of what will happen.
I also remember having the conversation with you then about like I'm the dinosaur, right? Like I'm the guy that like the first place I go is I look at someone's batting average, and a year ago at high A you were getting on base at an insane clip. I have no doubt that you're not happy hitting 182 to start the season. I have no doubt that that's true.
All right.
But the fact that this isn't a fluke, like that your vision and your approach at the plate, how pleased are you that has continued at the next level, that you're continuing to get on base at the clip that you are?
Yeah, right. I mean, everyone wants their average to be up, and obviously that's not the case right now, but hopefully that will get better as the season goes on. It's still early, but yeah, I mean, getting on base is a huge part of my game, and, my approach and knowing my skill sets of getting on base and stealing bags and scoring runs, that's huge. And, it's cool to see that translating level by level.
What was in the water at Aberdeen last year that all of you guys were stealing bases? Like, what in the world was it? Just felt like it wasn't just you. It was everybody was doing it, right?
Right. I mean, that's a philosophy throughout our organization. but also we had some speedsters on that team.
Yeah.
So just the combination of those two things was that was the result of it.
Is that, like, do you feel it's important, it's imperative for you that that's part of who you are, that you're going to get on and you're going to be aggressive, so that, like, a walk for you might not be the same as a walk for everybody else, because a walk for you might be as good as a double for anybody else?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you think about it, the game's changed a little bit. Speed's more of a factor than it has been in the past few years. And, I mean, bigger bases, pitch clock, your pitcher's only allowed to pick off twice before the third is a balk. I mean, they're basically asking you to steal. So if you have that in the tool bag, you might as well use it, you know?
Dude, I completely agree, and I feel like it's an adjustment. Like, when that rule came to the major leagues, I feel like now it's got to be an adjustment for every player coming up, right? That, like, you have a greater opportunity to take advantage of this skill set. Is it the type of thing where throughout, you bring it up, throughout the organization, they're encouraging you? They say, we want you to be aggressive because that's what we want to be as a baseball team.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And, you know, nowadays, pitchers are so good. It's hard to get on with a hit every time. Sometimes walking, sometimes laying down a bunt, you have a better chance than, you know, hitting a line drive that's going to get caught by an outfielder or an infielder. Just finding different ways to get on base and having the ability, you know, hit for a double or home run, but also walk and steal the bag, which is just as important and just as effective too.
Okay, so I want to talk about that, right? Because I'm sure you're familiar with, it's become quite the meme, the Gunnar Henderson reactions to getting walked over the last couple of seasons, right? Where, like, he genuinely appears to be pissed off every time he gets walked because he thinks he can hurt a baseball. Did you, at some point in your life, like, have to teach yourself to not be disappointed by a walk? Did you have to, like, have a moment where you say, no, dude, this is a good thing. This is a really good result. Don't be bothered by it.
Yeah, I mean, at times, yes, but to be quite honest, growing up, I was scared to swing when I was younger. So maybe that's played a part of me getting on base and drawing walks. But, you know, I agree with him sometimes. Sometimes it's definitely frustrating to get walked. You want to hit. But for me, it was a little different growing up, and maybe that's translated to now.
I'm like imagining young Doug Hodo, like, yes, I didn't have to swing this time.
Yeah, and sometimes that's good, but we all want to hit. We're all in there to hit.
I understand it. Doug Hodo with us in the Bowie Baysox here on GCR. Doug, you went out to the Arizona Fall League, correct?
Yes.
What did that experience do for you?
That was huge. I mean, it was a great opportunity to go out there. I was healthy all season, so I played a lot of games during the season, and playing an extra 20, 30 was at first, I don't know if my body's going to hold up, but it ended up being probably one of my favorite baseball experiences I've ever had.
Wow.
And we had a great group. Obviously, you get to play with some of the guys from the O's, and we had Berto out there too, which was awesome. We lost in the championship, which wasn't what we wanted, but having that group of guys, being in Arizona, I'd never been out there. It was really big league, and I was really, really pleased with the experience, and I think it's carrying over to this year. And just the learning experience I had was really cool, and getting to follow those guys that I played with and played against in the fall league. And following them this year has been really cool. So
that's awesome, man.
Definitely a cool experience.
That's really, really cool. I know it's been, to start this season, a little bit more center field. After last year, that was, I guess, maybe the place that you played the least in the outfield.
Right.
Is it, like, have they talked to you about that? Is it more, hey, we just want you to keep playing every outfield position and getting, or was that more determined, like, coming into this year, we really want to see you play a lot more center field. We think that might be where your biggest value is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure about coming into the year what the focus was, but, I mean, I have the ability to play all positions. Obviously, didn't play a lot of center last year, which is fine, but I've grown up playing center field my whole life, so getting to play there more has been really cool. But like I said, anywhere I can play is cool with me.
I totally get it, right? Like if they say to you, dude, your path to the bigs is playing left field, you're gonna be like, bro, I'm gonna be the greatest left fielder in the history of baseball. I understand that. Is it? A lot of times we talk about this with like infielders and playing shortstop. That like shortstop is like the most valuable spot. It's the place. It is center field that for outfielders.
I mean, some people could argue center field is the easiest.
Okay.
You have more ground to cover, and you're straight up looking at the pitcher and hitter. You're not at a different angle than the sides. But, yeah, that's a debate I won't go deep into, but, yeah.
What is it when you play one night in left field, one night in center field, is it an adjustment? Like, do you have to run out there, before the game and be like, right, I got to remind myself, like, do you have to do any of that? Or is it really, riding a bicycle? Like, dude, I've done this a million times in my life. I know exactly what I'm doing every time I go out there.
I'm not going to say it's like riding a bike, but after the first couple pitches in the first inning, you're like, okay, I'm in left field.
Right.
I'm in right field. But, yeah, it's just playing baseball at the end of the day.
I understand that. Doug Hodo is with us here on GCR, the weekly trip down to Bowie. Doug, what are the goals now, like for you this season? What are the priorities now? The full season, the AA level. What is it that you want to accomplish in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to sound cliche, but I just want to stay healthy and work to get better every day. I know that's a boring answer.
It is. It's terribly boring, but I understand. That's baseball. I get it.
Right. Right. Yeah, those honestly are the only two, and I'm huge in my faith, so just believing that whatever the season has for me is what it's going to be. So just those three things, even though it's boring, those are my goals for the year.
Do you start to feel, I know it's different for you because you played college baseball. It's not like, you're not like somebody who, has been languishing for years or something like that. But as you get into your mid-20s, do you start to feel like an amount of internal pressure at all? Like I gotta turn the temperature up a little bit and prove to everyone that I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, you see guys that are 21 in the big leagues now, and you're 24 in AA. That definitely creeps in a little bit, but everyone has their time, and everyone is on different timetables. So just staying present where you are is huge, and I'm going to continue to do that, even though it's difficult.
Is there a process that you have for remaining like even keel? Is there somebody that you talk to or something that you do in your life in order to keep that sort of patience?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm big in my faith, so trusting in the Lord's plan is huge for me. But, just outside of that, the daily, just breathing and visualizing and the mental part of the game is huge. So just staying focused on that has helped.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. All right, the Baysox are home this weekend. They got happy hour tonight ahead of their game with the Altoona Curve, and then coming up the rest of the weekend, Glow in the Park tomorrow night, fireworks, the tribute to the Negro Leagues on Saturday, Sunday Family Fun Day, and a Meet the Team, as well as a mystery character appearance after the game. You can check all of that out by going to Baysox.com in order to find out more. Doug Hodo, where are you social media-wise? Remind me where Orioles fans can be giving you a follow.
On Instagram, I'm Dougie Hodo, and then Twitter, I'm at Douglas Hodo.
And I need you to know that I appreciate the boring. Like, there's something to be said for just like, dude, I just want to do my job. I just want to play baseball, man.
Right.
Like, that's the way that it goes. Are you, Doug, remind me, are you a golfer?
I am.
Have you gotten out anywhere locally? I know, like, it's always different on Mondays for you guys where you are, but
I try not to golf during the season.
Okay.
So I haven't been out here yet, but when I'm in the off season at home in Texas, I will a lot more.
Is that because the swing might mess you up? Is that purposeful?
No, honestly, it's just I like to spend my off days on the couch, just hanging out.
I appreciate.
I'm being completely honest.
Is it on the couch watching, like binging something, or is it on the couch playing video games? What's the move?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Just relaxing, honestly.
Most recent thing that you've binged?
Oof. Severance.
Okay, everybody's watching. I haven't watched Severance yet. I got to get into it. It's got to be on my list. Doug Hodo, really appreciate it, man. Great to catch up with you. Looking forward to seeing how everything continues for you this season and doing this again real soon. Thank you for spending some time with us this morning, man.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Doug Hodo from the Bowie Baysox with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time to do that. All right. If you missed, speaking of baseball, if you missed Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson getting together earlier this week, you can find it by going to Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan shows, as always, are brought to you by the Costas Inn. Stan, Ross, and Luke talk baseball with you every Monday throughout the course of the season. Go pick it up go check it out, that is, right now. When we come back in, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, Pride of St. Francis, Kentucky linebacker. I really hope he gets picked by the Baltimore Ravens. It'd be great news for me. We'll see how that plays out. But we're going to catch up with him to talk about his preparation for the NFL draft. That's on the way as we continue along here on GCR.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high-fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an easy pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at driveeasymd.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas Combo, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious filling sandwiches including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Yeah, you know who they are. I mentioned the Warriors. They do end up losing, obviously, Game 2 last night. So that series is tied up 1-1. Cleveland-Boston stretched their series leads out to 2-0. And I guess Capitals fans very happy.
Yes, that's right. We are.
You're speaking on behalf of Capitals fans now.
Yeah. Thrilling game.
I'm to understand
Logan Thompson
Logan
stood on his head
was the story.
late in the game, and they scored a goal late there and put it away. It ended up looking, made it look easy.
Swell. Hooray! I got
up 2-0, man. Going to Montreal. Montreal.
I got nothing. There you go. They got.
When do they play? They play tomorrow, I would assume. Or I feel like in hockey, I feel like they
every other day. I think you're right. They play like 4 every night.
But in the NBA, sometimes there's like a 3.
Because they only play 3 games every night. It is a very weird bit. I don't know what the story is on that, but I think you're probably right about that. They play tomorrow night. 7 o'clock up in Montreal. Though tomorrow night there are only 3 games. So
Okay.
who
knows what they're doing.
I don't know, man. They didn't put me in.
I guess we got hockey on, so we can't complain.
Let's do that hockey.
Us hockey fans can't complain.
That's right, you guys. The ones that care the most. That's who I felt best for last night, is someone like you, because
Thank you.
You've been through so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I mean, I was watching, I had baseball on, and then it was like, actually, there's something better on.
I have a friend who's not like a baseball fan at all, but like whenever he goes to a baseball stadium, like because he just does a lot of traveling, he'll commit the bit of being like a lifelong fan of that team.
Oh, whenever you go to a random.
Yeah, he went to a Pirates game.
Okay.
It was such a good bit.
I wonder if I should start doing that bit.
He started posting like on the Pirates would like post things on Facebook, and he would like post a comment like, For those of us that have been around for a long time, this is special. And he would just do it very casually. And it really made me happy. Like, it genuinely made me very happy from afar to watch him commit to the bit of being a lifelong dyed-in-the-wool Pirates fan. So then I would sometimes, reference
I hope he's
that.
not a lifelong diehard Pirates.
But I would reference it sometimes. I'd be like, well, dude, for a Pirates fan like you, and he'd be like, I am a Pirates fan. Everybody knows
That's
that
true.
about me.
That's true.
But then every now and then I'd find out that he had gone to a stadium more recently than that. He'd be like, I don't know what you're referring to. I've been a lifelong Rays fan, and everybody knows that.
I don't know why you're bringing this story up, because I have been a lifelong Capitals fan. And
Yeah?
Diehard.
Yeah?
Dead in the wool.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Big time.
Yep.
They put a Capitals blanket over you when you were
Exactly.
born, right?
Yeah, basically. Basically.
That's
It's been in my blood.
You're the guy.
I bleed red.
You bleed red. That is different. That is a little bit more interesting. Anyway, yes, the Capitals go up 2-0 in that series. Everybody's like obsessed with give me some tidbits. Part of it is because of betting. I had a friend yesterday who lives in a place where they I guess they don't have access to FanDuel, and messaged me and said, could you put a $200 bet in for me on the Shedeur Sanders under?
So
And
what's
the spot?
21.5, right?
Well, I think it's just 21.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, I think. Let me double check. I can pull this up.
Well, because there's all. I mean,
it turns out I had
find
this person was so confident.
The draft, the draft market is so all over the place,
and that's the thing. Like the draft to me, I understand why it's so exciting to bet is because you just see things. You're like, a lot of people are in on the over 2.5 quarterbacks in the first round because they're just confident. Like quarterbacks never get taken with the first couple of picks of the second round. Historically, it just doesn't happen. Because, as everyone knows, there's so much value to getting that 5th year on the quarterback. If you think they're worthy of going somewhere between 33 and 40, the idea is you bump up and you try to trade into the 31st or the 32nd because it allows you that 5th year on the rookie contract, which is much more significant for a quarterback than it is a player at any other position. Like, yeah, getting the 5th year could be valuable for an edge rusher or something like that. But given how quarterback salaries escalate, if you like a quarterback at 35, then you really want to get them at 31, right? Internally or inherently, that's why it is the Baltimore Ravens got Lamar Jackson where they got him. As much as it was about liking Lamar Jackson, it was about wanting the 5th year. If he works out, we want to have that option of having him in the 5th year at an affordable price. So you don't see quarterbacks go. It was 21.5, by the way. It was 20. So if he gets taken by the Steelers at 21, you're still good. I had a $50 bonus bet available, so I said, I'm going to go ahead and put one in myself. Go ahead and do that.
The one I liked for some reason.
Although it's only minus 168. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not really even money.
There,
yeah. But yeah, the 2.5, I get it. The idea being, some people think Jackson Dart could go as early as the Saints, right? But the real point being that there's going to be a team, Giants, Browns, if they don't take their quarterback in the top 10, that is going to say, if we're taking a quarterback, we're better off trading back into the first round to take that quarterback and get that 5th year than falling out. So that's the reason why everybody likes the over 2.5 quarterbacks. And I get it. There are some people that are in league circles saying it's not a guarantee that Shedeur's going in round 1. But again, if you're drafting Shedeur,
why would you not want? Is it that we're all so we're so all off base on the market that apparently no one likes these guys?
Yeah, a lot of it sounds very coded, man. Like it's very difficult to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Like a lot of it sounds like stuff that you've heard about other black quarterbacks in the past. Like he's too whatever. And it's not really about him and his game and his ability, and that's why it's very difficult, right? Like it's very difficult.
Didn't go well,
right? You want to believe that like things have changed, and then then combine that with and he's entitled because his dad's famous and he's always had this system. I don't care because none of these are my team. Here's what I would tell you: it's going to really piss me off if Shedeur Sanders ends up being a Pittsburgh Steeler and works out because all of these teams are just falling into the same traps they've fallen into for 100 years. That it's somewhere between inherent racism and issues that have existed forever and the same coded language that we've said about certain players for an eternity. It still somehow crops up from time to time. And I get it. Somebody's going to say, well, Cam Ward's going to go number one over. You're doing the most when we do this. It's that very specifically there are certain things that are said about certain players. It's not no one will ever draft a black quarterback. You're hearing what you want to hear. We don't say those things about other guys. It's very weird how that works out. And I'm not even a Shedeur Sanders fan, right? Like I don't care. But I'm afraid he might be good, and I'd rather the Pittsburgh Steelers be stuck with Mason Rudolph or Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers.
It's playoff quarterback Mason Rudolph.
That's a great point. Thank you for the reminder. Or whatever it would be. I would far prefer that as a Ravens fan than I would they find their quarterback. They don't even have to move up in order to get their quarterback. They just make the pick. I hate the thought that this is just going to work out for the Steelers. They're going to have a franchise quarterback fall into their laps, potentially, at 21. But we'll see. It might even not be. Maybe the 21 they take Jackson Dart, right? Or they take Jalen Milroe, something like that. But I try to block out all of the nonsense in the days leading up to the draft. I do my absolute best to block all of it out because it is as subterfuge as subterfuge gets. There is just everything being thrown at the wall. I legitimately had someone tell me, dude, you might as well. It's funny because who do we have on? Oh, Chad Reiter the other day had 3 quarterbacks in the top 10. And I'm like, dude, people are talking about the idea that it might only be 1 quarterback in the first round. Mm-hmm. And then I had somebody else, a legitimate league source, say, dude, you might want to go ahead and see if you can't get 3 quarterbacks in the top 10 as a bet. And I was like, this is insane. I mean, I can't fall into this. I cannot fall into this trap. I can't do it. So I do my best. I do my best to just not throw out, oh, I heard so-and-so say. None of it matters to me. Just go find out who the picks are that are made. And, again, hang out with us inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Be there starting at 7:30 tonight. They're actually kicking off their festivities tonight around 6 o'clock. And some of the specials they're going to have, including $5 Bud Light drafts during the course of the NFL draft. So make sure you get down there to take advantage of all of that. All right. Speaking of the NFL draft, our next guest is going to hear his name called during the course of the NFL draft. And he spent some time here in Baltimore playing at St. Francis before he went to Georgia and then ultimately to Kentucky, where he had a very, very nice career at both locations. He is Jamon Dumas-Johnson, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Jamon, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Hey, man, how are your nerves right now, right? Like, how are you? Do you have to, like, go for a walk and, like, do anything to sort of handle all this in these moments?
Not really, man. You just got to sit back and let God take control, man. You know, it's a dream that, you know, a lot of us been wanting to come true since we was kids. And, you know, the ability to put our family in these type of positions and put ourselves in these type of situations, that's a dream come true. So like I said, we got this far, and we're just gonna put it in God's hands right now.
I
So,
appreciate that,
know,
man.
I'm not. I'm saying I'm putting it in God's hands, but I'm still nervous at the same time.
Right? It's sort of natural, right? Like, how can you not be? Your life's about to dramatically change over the course of the next couple of days, man. Which is a really, really cool thing. Jamon, take me back to you're a kid from PG County, right? Why St. Francis? What was it about the program? What was it about the staff? Why was that where you thought you needed to be in order to prepare yourself for the next level?
Everything about St. Francis prepared me for college. The schoolwork, the program, how to represent yourself, how to treat people, everything from top to bottom. St. Francis did exactly what I needed them to do and what I expected them to do. When you go to St. Francis, a lot of kids don't hope to get a scholarship. We expect to get a scholarship. As in for other schools, they're hoping to get a scholarship. St. Francis is going to do that. Whether you play or not, you're going to get a scholarship. That's what the coaches do at St. Francis do well. They pride themselves on sending every last kid in the class to college. And so what? You might not make it big time and go to a Alabama or Clemson or Auburn, university like that. But they're going to send you to college. They're going to get your education. They're going to get you a full scholarship. And they're going to do what they're, set to do. St. Francis is all about making boys to men. So, when I came out of there, I felt like I was a man. Everything they said they was going to do, they did. They kept their word. I'm just, here in this position today to try to give back on the side,
It's cool, man. Jamon, were you living in the campus housing, or were you making the commute?
Come on, man! I'm one of them junkyard babies. I was in a house.
Man,
I was in a house.
What was that experience? You talk about how that prepared, like for people
it prepared me. Like St. Francis was college before college.
Yeah.
Like I experienced college before college. I experienced waking up early, going to class, going to football practice, going to class. After school, going to study hall. After study hall, we're going to practice. After practice, we're going home. We're going to eat together as a family in the house. After that, we're waking up doing the same thing every day. Every single day, we're waking up doing the same thing. And that's what we did in college. Might got a little twist. You might got class after practice, or you might got class before. But as like the structure of it, we practiced the same. We did. We went to our education was the same. Like everything prepared me for college, like boarding wise, boarding with people I don't know for real. Mm-hmm. All of that prepared me for college.
Was that tough to go through at a younger age? Like, were you ready for that adjustment, or did it take a little while for you?
I'm ready, man. I was raised with 7. I was raised with 6 boys. My mom.
That's
had
a great
6
point.
Boys,
That's a great point.
Yeah, I was ready for it. Like I was never the type of kid that was scared to get away from home. When you raised in like a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 boys, you get a corner in the room. So I was itching to get my own bed at St. Francis. So I never was one of them baby boys that was holding on to home and stuff like that. I was ready to go.
That's cool, man.
So when I made that change to college, it was easier. I already been doing this.
I appreciate all of that, man. What about like the aspect of it where you're in Baltimore, like you're really in Baltimore, right? Like I don't know how many people realize this from the outside. Like this, a lot of people hear like prep schools, they're thinking like some nice, out in the country type of area or something like that. What did you take from your time in Baltimore? Like as a DMV guy, what did that do for you? We talk about Baltimore guys as being chip on the shoulder types of guys. Did you start like did you take any of that during your time that you're in our city?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Just the way, it's like, you got rough areas everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You got rough areas every single where in the world. You come down to my part, which is in Prince George County, Maryland, Hyde, Maryland, Andover, Maryland, that part, and you see you see nice structured apartments and nice. Not high class, but it's decent.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you go to Baltimore, everything is treacherous. Like everything. So you see why the guys that's, that's coming here and competing and grinding, because they literally have no other choice. My guys that's from my area, we come up there, we have similar backgrounds. We don't have no traits either. But you see a little difference between the Baltimore guys, especially since they, bring in a little bit of the DCs and Prince George's County kids up there and playing in the Baltimore backyard. They, you see the chip on their shoulder and you see the gritty that, you see the attitude and stuff like that. So it made you a little bit more hungry because you kind of coming into someone else's backyard competing. So that's what it did for me. It's prepared me for this moment. Like I had to come into Baltimore City and compete and take a Baltimore kid job. Now I got to come into an NFL situation and take a grown man job.
Wow.
So it ain't nothing that, like I said, St. Francis never prepared me for. They prepared me for everything.
That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. Jamon Dumas-Johnson is with us here on GCR. Jamon, the experience at Georgia, and then take me through, because I think a lot of people probably would say, hey, when somebody is succeeding at Georgia, why would you want to go anywhere else, right? Like, you're at one of the top programs in the country. What was the decision like for you, and what did you get out of making that jump to Kentucky last year?
Say that first part.
Just take me through how you, first of all, ending up at Georgia, what the experience was like, and then why you decided to make that jump to Kentucky.
Yeah, I just wanted to go somewhere out of high school that basically played just like St. Francis. Covering linebacker, a blitzing linebacker, a linebacker that just can flow and let the D-line do they do, and just, basically let the system be for the linebackers. Not necessarily be for the linebackers, but let the linebacker be who they is. Don't let them be robots. You let them be free. And that's what Georgia offered, at that linebacker position. And at that time, our DC and linebacker coach and, head coach, they was on it. They had some crazy defensive stats and things like that. And that's where I wanted to go, and I always wanted to go with the best, and I always wanted to compete with the best. I came in there with 2 5-stars, 2 5-star linebackers in my position, Smile and Sorey, who ended up being my best friends to this day. But we were just competing, and luckily I got the chance to play, and start my sophomore year, and I just throughout my time there, man, I just was taught, and I learned what the standard is and how you do everything. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot at Georgia that I carry on throughout my whole life and day-to-day basis. And when I look at it, I'm like, where do I get this from? And I think about it, and I got it from Georgia. I'm saying something every day that comes back to Georgia. So Georgia raised me in this football stuff. So all my knowledge, my football stuff, and how I do things, all that came from Georgia because they raised me from a boy to man, which is a freshman to my junior year. And I just got that winning culture. I got to see how coaches really think. I got to see how things are supposed to go, and how things go, and how I got to see how hard work works. If you put it in, it's gonna come back out some type of way. So that's what I learned from Georgia. And then, what made me transition from Georgia to Kentucky, it was just I had an injury my junior year, somewhere in like November. So that played a big part in it. And it was something that was going on behind the door. So, yeah. But mainly my broken arm what made me transfer. It had sent me back than what I wanted.
I understand what you're saying. Did you find that, like, being at Kentucky, there was more of like a place for you to be the guy, to be, to shine a little bit more, and for everybody to see, for you maybe to pop on the tape and on the film, maybe a little bit more at a place like that?
Nah, I feel like I was popping at Georgia. I feel like I was the guy at Georgia. I feel like I was, I was the team leader. I was the captain. I was the voice.
Okay.
I was the person that would get people going. I was the person that the coaches would come to get the team going. I was that person at Georgia. So that wasn't the reason why I left Georgia.
I got it.
You know, people say to be the man at Kentucky. I was the man at Georgia. Like I wasn't not. Now, when I say that don't mean I was the only man at Georgia.
Right.
It was a few of us. It was a few, but mainly between them lines and them names throwing out the man and being the person, I was there at Georgia. So yeah, that wasn't the reason why I left. And you know, like I said, like for me to be in the spotlight, I was first team. I was SEC. I was all these. You know, I was double natty. I was 115-0 team. I was all these things at Georgia. So that wasn't it. You know, it was just like I said, the broken arm sent me back and something behind the doors that, you know, made me transfer.
I understand. It's also, this is the way the world works, and I get that. And that opportunity is there, and clearly it worked out quite well for you to put yourself in this position. Jamon, like now that you're here, right? What is it that this entire path, everything from PG County to St. Francis to Georgia to Kentucky, you point out adversity, dealing with injuries. How prepared do you feel like you are for now being in the NFL, maybe even more so than other guys, you know, in the same class that haven't had the same experiences that you've had to this point?
You said what I learned from the process?
I just said, how prepared do you feel like you are now for this jump,
oh,
right?
I'm 100%.
Yeah.
I'm 100% prepared. I'm 100% prepared. I feel like, you know, I've been taking tests for 12th grade. That's 12 years. Junior year, almost that's 4 more years. So that's 16 years of school doing tests that you study for. I have never been more prepared in life for the situation I'm in now.
Yeah. What is it?
Never been more prepared.
What is an NFL team getting? What are they getting when they call your name this weekend, Jamon?
They getting a high caliber player, you know, a high motor player. They giving a alpha player. They getting the future all pro linebacker, future Hall of Famer. That's something what I want to do. Something I want to be. A lot of players just want to play the game.
I love that.
You know, I actually want to be the best at something.
Yeah, right.
They getting a leader. They getting a vocal leader. You know, so not someone that's going. You know, I'm not just going to work by example. I'm going to work by example and lead from the voice. You know, they're getting a player that knows how to win, and been through the winning process. Also been through the be on the other side. And I like the winning side a little bit better. So coming in just working, and like they said. In all the meetings, are you ready to come in and take a grown man job? Hell yeah, I'm ready to take a grown man job.
I love that, man. Jamon, I know, look, whoever calls your name, that's who you love. I understand all of that, right? But uniquely, there is a history of, linebackers in Baltimore, right? Like, there's a pretty good one right now that played at Georgia for a few years.
Yeah.
What would that mean, right, if it happened to work out that way? Given your history here, given the history of linebackers in Baltimore, what would that mean if it just happened to be the Ravens?
It'll mean something special. It'll mean to me that another chance to do something great again, another shoes to fill. Not only Rose, but Ray Lewis, C.J. Mosley, other linebackers that came. So. Patrick Queen, it's another shot in fulfilling something and accomplishing something, and let the legacy continue at that linebacker position in Baltimore, doing it at home in your home state.
All the sounds of that, man. That would be really special if that's the way that it worked out for you. But obviously, I know it's going to be really special for you wherever it ends up being. I understand that.
Yeah.
Jamon, can you remind me, Twitter, Instagram, where can folks around here be giving you a follow as you go through this process of getting into the NFL?
My Twitter is Jamon Johnson with 2 N's on the Johnson. And then Instagram is just one Jamon DJ on Instagram.
One Jamon DJ, give him a follow there. Jamon, can't wait to see what's next for you, man. Obviously, for selfish reasons, it would be great for us if it ended up with you in purple this weekend. That would be tremendously cool if it worked out that way. But wherever it is, looking forward to seeing what's next for you. Jamon, appreciate you taking the time for us this morning, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Jamon Dumas-Johnson out of Kentucky, linebacker, getting ready. And, of course, once upon a time, St. Francis here in Baltimore. Appreciate him spending the time with us this morning on GCR. All right, we are winding down for a Thursday edition of the show. No, we are not doing the NFL Draft Spectacular. As I said, I'll be at I know. Look, man, there was a time where I really loved doing those shows. I really did. But we're going to be at the Live Casino and Hotel. That's where we're going to be. So come hang out with us there. And have some fun, win some prizes. That's the play for tonight. And at some point, perhaps I'll hop on one of the socials. We'll see. KZ and I have done that a couple times in recent years. It's tougher because I'll actually be working at Live tonight. I'm actually engaging, doing all that sort of stuff. But we'll try at some point to hop on and do something as well. Let's go ahead and get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the Brigance Brigade. Support the Brigance Brigade with their annual 5.7K race and 1.57-mile fun walk. This Saturday, April 26th, it's a day full of racing, walking, and family fun, starting at the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore, and it all supports the fight against ALS. On top of the race and walk, there will also be a kids' fun run, sack races, a freeze dance competition, moon bounce, face painting, and cupcake bar, plus free zoo admission included with your registration. Grab brunch from Jimmy's Famous Seafood, which can be added to your registration for just $15, or you can add it day of. So race, play, and make lasting memories together. Register now, brigantsbrigade.org.
All right, so we'll do a quick baseball one, and then I'll get a draft kind of themed one for us. But let's see, Buster Olney was talking about it on his podcast today. But there are 4 players in Major League Baseball that have over 34 batted balls over 100 miles per hour exit velo.
This season?
Yes, this season already. 34 batted balls over 100 miles per hour. There are 4 players that have done that. And they're all relatively, like, they're all big guys. Like, you see their name and you expect, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
and then
right,
there's another one where there's a shorter guy. So that's kind of the surprising one. But can you try to name all 4 of the guys with the most hard-hit batted balls here this season?
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge, of course, is on the list. 34 for the 6'7" Aaron Judge.
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani, 34 batted balls over 100 miles per hour as well.
I don't know who the third one is.
He's also 6'3". He's a first baseman. Not going to sound like a surprise when you hear it.
Pete Alonso.
Look at that, 3 for 3. Who's number 1 though? There's one guy that has 35 batted balls over 100 miles per hour.
So this is the short guy.
Yeah, this is the short guy.
Jose Altuve.
Not Jose Altuve, not that short.
I don't know.
The Ravens. The Orioles have faced him already this season.
Orioles have faced him already. Corbin Carroll.
He has the most, 35 over 100 mile per hour batted balls this season at 5'10". Corbin Carroll right up there on that list with Judge, Ohtani, and Alonso.
How about it?
Yeah.
Remember when we were completely written him off? Like, remember how bad it was? We were like, oh boy, this looks like a disaster.
So maybe you can't write off any of the Orioles guys either.
I'm certainly not writing them off.
You were.
A lot of people.
No, you were.
A lot of people last night were doing the bit where you're like, it seems like you're trashing Tyler O'Neill. Have you checked Anthony Santander's numbers? I'm like, well, first of all, Anthony Santander never hits in April. Like, we know that. That's the way that it works. He just doesn't hit in April. Wake him up when it gets to May. And again, my take about Tyler O'Neill isn't related to what he's done so far this season, which has not been good. It's that coming in, he's been a platoon hitter for the last 3 years. That's my problem with Tyler O'Neill, is he's not an everyday Major League Baseball player. He was in 2021. If they could have signed 21 Tyler O'Neill this offseason, oh my God, so in favor of that. But they didn't. And people like, yeah, but his career numbers are not, like, he's actually, for his career, almost as good of a hitter against right-handers as Anthony Santander is. I'm like, right, because you're overvaluing what happened 4 years ago. It's a weird group of people that I was interacting with last night. Like a weird
trolls, maybe.
Like a weird group. But one of them is Rob Shields, who does this all the time. Like he is kind of a professional troll, but like in a weird way, he's my troll. Like I don't know how to explain it.
We need to talk John and Little Rock off the ledge as well.
Why?
He definitely was going on yesterday, and we didn't get to any of his comments. But today, just quick to the point. O's are cooked. They're gonna finish in 4th or 5th place. Sad.
I mean, I can't tell him he's wrong, but yeah, I mean, saying it definitively, yeah, there's a whole season ahead of us. Who knows what's going to happen? But right now, it sucks. Like right now, I don't see the path forward. I guess we didn't bring it up earlier. They did get better injury news on Grayson Rodriguez, but really weird how this went from one thing to another thing to a lat strain. Like really strange, the path.
The arrival.
Yeah. Really odd how it all played out. If you,
what they say, they think he can start throwing again in like
a
couple of weeks. Is that what they said?
Yeah,
it still all seemed very vague.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like, none of it says he's gonna be back next week, anything like that. But I think the doomsday, he's not gonna pitch it. Yeah, remember that was what Drew said yesterday. Well, that's the answer. He's not pitching at all. I'm like, well, wait a second. Could resume activity in a few weeks. Now, that's still very vague in general, right? Like, there's still a what is activity? What is a few weeks, right? Like, you can it puts to bed the doomsday. Well, it doesn't put it to bed. It pauses the doomsday stuff related to Grayson Rodriguez. But again, it's not going to help tomorrow. I think if it's worded that way, it's probably not going to help by Memorial Day. Like if he starts activity in a couple of weeks, so then best case scenario is he's doing something 2 weeks from now, then again best case scenario after that is he could actually pitch in a month. Best case scenario is he could be major league ready by June. Like
that still seems I guess mid-June. Maybe
something like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully their nose above the water.
Correct, or within shouting distance.
Yeah.
I can't tell Johnny's wrong, but we still have to go through. There are plenty of examples of teams that have stretches like this and are a different team otherwise. To pretend like it can't happen, we can't do that. To pretend like it's likely to happen, we can't do that either. What
are we supposed to do?
Watch baseball. Or not. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Tonight, you can watch the draft if you'd like. Tomorrow, you
watch hockey.
Sure.
Our Capitals.
Our Capitals. Lord, that's annoying. It really is annoying when you deal with a Capitals fan in Baltimore who assumes that everybody else is supposed to be a Capitals fan too. You're like, bro.
We are.
No, we are not. Not collectively. There are Capitals fans in Baltimore, unquestionably. But that's the difference. If you are, God love you. I'm not mad at you. But you can't do the bit where you're like, well, we're all Capitals. No, not remotely. Not at all. I am currently without a team. So if you want to try to recruit me, by all means, but it's going to be uphill to get me to be a Capitals
You're a tall hockey club guy, right?
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Seattle Kraken?
Hate them.
The Kraken?
I could listen to being a Kraken guy. I could hear that out.
Good for
10:30
puck drops.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm used to those. Yeah. I was Coyotes fan. I'm good with that. Vegas is a nice place. I could be a Vegas guy.
Here's Mr. Capitals right now.
Yeah, Mr. Capitals, sure. This guy. All right. Is that it? What else do you have?
I was going to do the Ravens. What position do they draft the most in the first round?
What have they drafted the most?
So they've drafted this position 6 times.
6
the most
times.
Position they targeted. The position they've targeted the most in the first round. There's 3 other positions they've drafted 5 times.
Okay. Cornerback.
Cornerback is tied for second. 5 round 1 corners in Ravens.
And are we separating different offensive line positions?
I grouped all the O-line together. So 5 O-line. Darn, I just
you did. I mean, because this is the thing. I could actually probably count some of these and cheat. Right? Like,
do you want to try to name all the corners?
Yeah, the corners are Wiggins, Starks, McAllister. why am I blanking all of a sudden? Hang on. Chill. Jimmy Smith.
I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah, Jimmy Smith.
And the fifth.
And name
Marlon. Right.
Yep,
yeah, Marlon.
Name all their colleges, yeah.
Yeah. I could do that.
Thank you, John.
Oh, thanks, John Colson.
Thanks.
It's very nice
Thank
of you.
you.
Nice of you. What's that? What do I tease and mock you?
Oh, Mr. Capitals. Yeah,
that was him. That wasn't me.
No, that means your response to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I'm doing a wacky bit. I could do all the colleges. If you
I have
really
to speak
want
for all
me
the
to.
Capitals fans, John.
Jimmy Smith obviously being Colorado,
Yeah.
Dwayne Starks being Miami, Chris McAllister Arizona, Marlon being Alabama, and Nate Wiggins Clemson.
Nice.
5 offensive linemen.
At the
first
end of this,
round.
we're just going to go name every first
well, I
rounder.
probably could, honestly. Maybe not in order, but I
Yeah.
could probably get there. 5 offensive linemen. So Jonathan Ogden, UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Orr, Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Grubbs, Auburn.
Yep.
Ronnie Stanley, Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler Linderbaum, Iowa.
Yes. 5 for 5 on the O-line, 5 for 5 on the cornerbacks. One other position they've drafted 5 times.
5 times.
And another they've drafted 6.
Like I can think of. Well, I'm like literally trying to cheat and name them all now, right? Like, I guess. So how are we separating edge and linebacker? What is it? Like that's,
yeah, they're separated. Yeah, they're different.
So inside linebacker and edge
are 2 different positions.
Are separated,
yes.
And defensive tackle is then separated.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So.
Yeah, I guess because now I'm seeing like the.
Well, I know there've been at least 5 receivers, right? Has there been a 6th? Damn. Damn, this is good. I'll say there have been 6 receivers.
Wide receiver is the most
okay,
targeted
so let's do
position
that
in the first round.
Travis Taylor.
Yes.
Florida. Rashad Bateman, Minnesota. Zay Flowers, Boston College. Mark Clayton, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Brashad Perriman, Central Florida. And Hollywood Brown, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
6 receivers.
It's
in the
hilarious
first round.
because obviously we've talked about the Ravens and wide receiver position.
So they're also good.
So then edge is the
edge is not.
It's not edge.
So let's see. The only edge, was Dafe Owe.
Oh, then that's not because Terrell Suggs was an edge.
Yeah, so
this is
when they get, I guess we're basing it off how they handle the card in.
That's a foul. It's also the way that we judge the position. It used to be that at the time we just said they were defensive linemen and linebackers.
Owe was listed as an outside linebacker too.
Yeah, I mean that's bad.
Suggs listed as a linebacker.
So you're saying linebacker is the other one where there's 5? Yeah, that's
so 4 technically.
That's kind of because Peter Boulware was definitely an edge as well.
He was okay.
Yeah,
right,
this
so
is a bad list.
Well.
Go
ahead and name them.
The edges of the linebacker.
Both. Well, I just gave you Owe.
So how many combined edges and linebackers are there?
Then 6.
6
then
combined edges and linebackers.
But they're still a pretty fine demarcation of inside
Owe,
linebacker.
Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, inside linebacker is...
So 3 and 3, technically.
Yeah, inside linebacker is Ray Lewis, Miami, Patrick Queen, LSU, and C.J. Mosley, Alabama.
Yes.
And then edge is Dafe Owe, Penn State, Terrell Suggs, Arizona State, Peter Boulware, Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then, let's see, there was 3 safeties, 3 quarterbacks.
3 safeties, Ed Reed, Miami, Matt Elam, Florida. And who is it's? Oh, Kyle Hamilton, Notre Dame. Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton, Notre Dame.
And then you said 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, obviously. Well, I mean, I say obviously, right? Like Kyle Bowler, Cal. I'm sure young people might not remember that.
I don't think I knew that you went to Cal. Yeah.
But then, of course, Joe Flacco, Delaware, and Lamar Jackson, Louisville.
Mm-hmm. Multiple tight ends, 2.
Todd Heap, Arizona State, and Hayden Hurst, South Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. And then 1 of each, 1 D lineman and 1 running back.
Haloti Ngata, Oregon, and Jamal Lewis, Tennessee.
Yes. Yes.
That's
three
it. That's
years
the
they
history
did.
of-
3 years they did not have a first-round pick.
Well, the year after Bowler, because they traded their first-round pick in order to get in and get Bowler. So
that was
I don't remember. 04.
Yes, 04.
Okay.
Drafted Bowler in 03, no pick in 04.
And then the year that they traded back and took Sergio Kindle was their first pick in that draft. Was that 09 or 10? Damn. It was 09?
Mm-mm.
It was 10.
It was 2010, yes. 2010, no first-round pick.
And then, so that would have been 2012.
Yes,
2 years
2012,
later.
no
Because then the
first-round
following year they took Jimmy and Torrey Smith were their first two
Yeah.
picks. And then I guess that was Kalechi and Courtney Upshaw were the picks in 2012, or the second-round picks,
right.
if I remember correctly. I think, I'm pretty sure. I don't know with certainty, but I'm going to.
Yeah, Courtney Upshaw
and Kalechi Osemele.
Osemele both in the second round. The Ravens only had. Oh, okay, no, they made a lot of picks. Okay, Bernard Peters, Gino Grakowski.
Yeah, if we had to do it by year, I would have really struggled, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's been too many years, but by position, not quite as daunting.
Tommy Streeter.
Tommy Streeter. I was so excited to have a 6'5" wide receiver, or 6'4", whatever he was listed as. I was like, God, that's what they need. It wasn't him. All right, very good. Let's get tubular.
Ravens draft history.
There you go. First round. Let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. Of course, the NFL Draft tonight. You're going to come down to Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Round 1 coverage kicks off at 8 o'clock. They're starting their party at 6. I'll be there around 7:30. You can watch the draft ABC, ESPN, and the NFL Network tonight. Masson 2 for the Orioles broadcast. Masson for the Nationals broadcast as the Orioles try to avoid the sweep tonight at 6:45. Cade Povich and Mackenzie Gore. Did you know the K in Mackenzie was capitalized?
I did not know.
And I'm really hoping it's like a pitching thing. Like at some point he decided
Mackenzie.
Yeah, right? Like I'm really hoping that's what it was. Good news for the rest of the country. You can also watch the Orioles tonight.
Nice.
That game is on MLB Network.
yeah.
That's what we need.
Cool.
UMBC lacrosse wrapping up the regular season. Everything about this is so random. They're playing a non-conference game against Holy Cross. They're playing it in Metuchen, New Jersey at a random high school.
Oh, Metuchen High School, I'm sure, right?
I think it's St. Joseph High School.
Oh, really?
That's
That
what
makes
it's
no
called.
sense.
Correct. And there's no broadcast for it. So I got nothing on this.
Does the game even happen?
It's a good question. I believe final night of the Patriot League regular season for the women, ESPN Plus, Navy American at 1, Loyola Bucknell at 7. TNT Knicks Pistons game 3 at 7, Thunder Grizzlies game 3 at 9:30, NBA TV Nuggets Clippers game 3 at 10, TBS and True TV Panthers Lightning game 2 at 6:30, Golden Knights Wild game 3 at 9, ESPN 2 Maple Leaf Senators game 3 at 7, Jets Blues game 3 at 9:30. Baseball, MLB Network, Mariners Red Sox 1:35, Brewers Giants after that, and then late tonight Rays Diamondbacks. MLB TV, the free game is Rockies Royals at 2:10. Golf round 1 of the this is like the goofy. It's like pairs. They do like pairs figure skating at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. It's a 2-person team.
Nice.
Doubles tennis event, round 1 today. Access TV for TNA Impact at 8. Non-sports?
Just a few things. Of course, big one. I know you're excited about it. Is season 2. It's back on Hulu. Vanderpump Villa.
Oh, hell yeah, man!
Yeah, all the same characters.
What's the Scandival? That guy involved?
Similar, maybe. I don't know. I think it's different than Vanderpump Rules, but only
Is
a
it?
little bit. Like
If
Lisa
you say
Vanderpump's still
so.
obviously involved. It's Vanderpump
I
Villa.
don't know who she is.
She's Lisa Vanderpump.
But what does that mean?
She's she runs everything.
What?
She's in
What
charge.
does she run?
She's in charge.
Of what?
She's like the big bad,
Of what?
Of Vanderpump.
But what is it?
It's like a reality thing.
What does that mean?
She probably like owns Bravo at this point. Probably. I don't know.
A number of people have tried to convince me to watch Vanderpump Rules in my life.
People
Like,
avid?
100%.
In your life?
Oh my God! Both Aaron and Brandon from the wrestling show.
Oh, really?
Avid viewers of Vanderpump
Well, because
Rules.
because they're in Vegas, right? That's
Well,
or
Aaron
Aaron
is.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I think her restaurant is in Vegas.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
Oh,
I don't think
all right.
it's even remotely close to that. I think
Um,
their wives watch it and they just watch it with them. I think that's what it is.
New episode of Hacks on Max.
do
Not
like
until
Hacks.
9. Not until 9 tonight, though.
Silly.
Kimmel's going to have old Jelly Roll on with him.
Good. He can plug the draft.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, actually. Can push back to 12:05 because of the draft, obviously, on ABC.
Sure.
And then on Netflix, it's the 5th and final season of You with our
Oh,
boy,
that's
our boy
a,
Penn Badgley.
That's
yeah.
a thing about Baltimore's own Penn
Yes,
Badgley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Final season.
I've never had any interaction with him ever in my life. I don't know that he was here.
Is it because he's off-putting just because of the character that
Yeah,
he
I mean,
plays in
it
the
does.
show?
It does, right? But then you also root for like the character somehow. I don't know how to explain it. I will definitely end up watching You before too long. By the way, I started Invincible because Jeremy wanted me to.
You're not a superhero guy, are you?
I don't get it. Well, I like superhero stuff, but he like made a comparison to like The Boys, and
I guess because of the way it's like kind of gory in that sense.
Is it?
How many episodes?
I'm
are there?
only
I
like-
haven't watched Invincible yet either. I've seen a good bit of clips. I feel like
it's just been like
had or at least had a
any
general
other
gist.
superhero cartoons so far. Like
Is it better than the Batman the animated series?
I didn't watch Batman the animated
That's good.
series.
That's a great
I did-
series.
People did rave about Batman the animated series
from the
Yeah,
90s.
I don't
Mark
know,
Hamill
dude.
is the Joker.
I don't
It's
know,
the
dude.
best.
I don't know. It's very weird. We'll see. I'm not quitting it yet, but I'm just not.
Oh, John, be careful. John says he doesn't think any of the first-round quarterbacks, these potential first-round
Oh,
quarterbacks are franchise guys.
Going war on
He
this.
doesn't think they're franchise
Well,
guys.
I know who's not a franchise guy is Mason Rudolph. I know definitively. Kenny Pickett is not a franchise quarterback. I know that.
Gun to your head. Tyler Shug.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
didn't-
I've heard it 8 different ways this week.
Louisville quarterback.
Is he a first-round pick?
No. He's not a first.
Lame. All right, then this is going to be a boring
Yeah, what's the
draft.
point of watching? Great point. Thanks today to Jamon Dumas-Johnson. Thanks to Myles Rice. Thanks to Doug Hodo, Joe Serpico. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the Say His Name and He Appears.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, we will, of course, react to whatever the Ravens do tonight. Also,
Jeremy Kahn will be here.
Oh, right. He's going to pay off the Mayo dog bet. You got that taken care of?
Yeah.
All right.
We just need 2 things, right? Yeah.
I guess buns.
Yeah.
3 things.
3 things.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy's bringing the buns.
Maybe I'm realizing that we've got too much that's not draft.
I know, yeah.
We are supposed to talk to Andre Mills tomorrow. Incoming Maryland transfer.
Who do
Another.
the Orioles play this weekend?
I don't know. It's so bleak. I haven't really thought
They're
about
in
it.
Detroit.
Okay. Probably going to face Tarek Skubal.
Let's see, who are they facing?
I don't know. I don't know. They pitched last.
Oh, good.
What?
Casey Mize. He's
Yeah.
off to a good start.
Yeah.
Jackson Jobe looking a lot better in his last couple starts. At least we're going to miss Reese Olson.
Oh, okay.
But Tarek Skubal is pitching Sunday.
Wonderful. Maybe they'll score 3 runs for the weekend.
Who do you think they get the run support for?
thing.
Brandon Young, Charlie Morton, or Dean Kramer?
They'll
Who gets
score
the run
3
support?
for Morton and lose 17-3. Thanks to everybody at PressBox.
The
All of our
old
great
Lions
sponsors.
Ravens score.
Right. All of our great sponsors and partners, including the Brigance Brigade, Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costa Sin, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Yeah, go Birds. Sure, for the love of God. Duke sucks.